Game of the series tonight. Thanks for joining us. Paul Keels along with former Reds pitcher Chris Welsh. It is a little bit of a different feeling around here today, Chris.
Well, there's no doubt about it. You know, you get the monkey off your back. You finally break a 5-game losing streak. You win game in a dramatic fashion. Well, they win every game in a dramatic fashion. So get you ready for another game against a very tough Dodger team.
And certainly it was a game that involved a lot of people with pitching changes, double switches, and Paul Janisch, who was involved in the one double switch that Dusty Baker utilized. Well, his appearance at the plate paid off for the Reds.
Well, you know, Paul Janisch was a semi-regular player last year. He played in 90 games, of course, when Alex Gonzalez was gone. They traded him. Janisch was the everyday shortstop. He thought he would be the everyday shortstop coming into this spring training. It hasn't worked out that way. But Janisch, who can flat out pick it defensively, has really contributed when he does get a chance. Last night he drove in a very decisive run with a base hit in the center field. He ended up coming around first base, getting in a rundown, and then the ensuing play allowed Ramon Hernandez to come in from third base, and it gave the Reds a 2-run cushion. That was huge in that ball game. If the Reds lost that ball game last night, it would have really been a disastrous attitude around here. As it was, everybody's smiling. Paul Janisch, Paul Keels, and even me.
Aaron Harang pitching tonight against Hiroki Kuroda. It's the Reds and the Dodgers. First pitch coming up next.
Authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Tonight's Reds broadcast on Fox Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high definition, courtesy of H.H. Gregg. And welcome again to Great American Ballpark. Game 2 of the 3-game series with the Reds and the Dodgers. Now time for an update on this evening's weather. And it's time to check in with WKRC's Tim Hedrick.
Looks like another great night for a ball game. 67 at the first pitch. 9 o'clock, you're looking at 62, and then 58 degrees by 11 o'clock. Now, remember, as you get to the bottom of the ninth, if you need a pitch hitter, this old bat still got some pop. Now back to the ball.
Yeah, right, Tim.
Don't quit your day job, Tim.
Yes.
That's our advice from up here in the booth. You may have to face a couple of guys like this. A couple of right-handers tonight are on the hill opposing each other. Hiroki Kuroda, who's in his third year as a Los Angeles Dodger, and he's really pitched like the ace of this half. This guy's got good moving fastball. You see the good earned run average already, 14 strikeouts. Aaron Harang still looking for his first win of the year with a high earned run average. Aaron, unfortunately, has given up 5 home runs in 16 innings. He's going to have to keep the ball down because it's a very good hitting Dodger lineup he faces tonight.
Yes, it is. First pitch with the Reds and the Dodgers. Coming up next is Cincinnati tries to make it 2 in a row here at Great American Ballpark. Is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks, 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili. You know it's Skyline time, and you get that craving for a Skyline 3-way or cheese coneys. Welcome back to the ball yard. It's the Reds and the Dodgers. Joe Torre, the LA manager, trying to see if his team can't avoid a second consecutive loss. Here's the lineup that he will trot out there. Almost identical, save number 9 to last night.
Well, Matt Kemp in number 2 spot hit a big home run last night. This guy's hit 4 home runs in his last 5 games at Great American Ballpark. Andre Ethier, Manny Ramirez in the cleanup spot, James Loney, the first baseman, Casey Blake, Blake DeWitt, Russell Martin batting 8th. That's a pretty good lineup when he's in the 8th spot. And Hiroki Kuroda on the mound for the Dodgers. On the mound for the Reds, it'll be big 6'7" Aaron Harang taking the hill tonight, throwing from a 3-story building straight down. He's got a better fastball this year. He's a fly ball pitcher. That doesn't necessarily go hand in hand in his ballpark because the home runs have hurt him so far.
And for Cole, lines it on a shot right at Brandon Phillips. 1 pitch, 1 out. Good start.
This ball is scalded all right. I'm not so sure it had so much force on it that would knock Brandon Phillips down. Doesn't make your pitcher feel too good when you got a guy gotten knocked down in the infield. But Brandon's laughing about it. And they get a first pitch out.
So, Matt Kemp will step in at the plate. Big night last night for Matt Kemp, especially in the 8th inning. So, Harang getting ready for only his second pitch of the night. Matt Kemp, 2 base hits last night in 5 at-bats, but had that home run in the 8th inning that was part of the Dodger effort to tie the baseball game. And not that there ever is a start that's not important, but highly important for Aaron Harang.
It is. I mean, it's not like they're going to send him to the bullpen like they did Carlos Zambrano in Chicago. But, you know, you still want to get your ace going. I mean, this is the guy that started your opening day game for you. He had 2 years in a row, won 16 games each year. He's taken 2 years off and only won 6 the last couple of years. Some of that has been his problem. Some of that has been the fact that he's had very few runs with which to work. But this is a good test for him tonight, because this Dodger hitting team, they're hitting on all cylinders right now, and they've got a lineup that is more like an American League lineup than most National League lineups you'll face.
Count 3-1 to Matt Kemp, the Dodgers center fielder. Ball 4. So Kemp trots on down to first base. Time to take a look at our Ford defensive alignment for the Reds tonight. The only change from last night is Chris Dickerson in center field. All the other usual suspects, with Ramon Hernandez behind the dish. 1 out, 1 on. The Dodgers will send Andre Ethier to the plate. There's a look at Brandon Phillips, who caught a line drive for the first out of the game, and also Brandon with a home run last night. Ethier with a base hit and a run scored in 4 at-bats. Kemp on the move. He'll have to come back. The loss for the Dodgers last night here at GABP, only the 9th in the previous 24 games that they have played here at Great American Ballpark. Their trips have been successful as of late. And because of the realignment of divisions, they don't come here as often as they used to. Harang ready for the 0-1 pitch. So Andre Ethier trying to see if he can't move the runner across. In his career, 1 for 8 against the Reds right-hander. Outside corner strike. Aaron Harang in his career 2 and 4 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. With an ERA of 4.78, he has allowed 4 LA home runs. There's Aaron from not too far away from Los Angeles, a native of San Diego. Matt Kemp picked up a 5-pitch walk. Stationed at first base, being held on by Joey Votto. Just outside.
You know, you'd love to see Aaron Harang develop a delivery or release a pitch that would give him a better chance of a ground ball double play. Last year, he only rolled up 11 ground ball double plays, and a guy that, you know, he didn't make all of his starts last year. I think he only had 24 of them, but still, in this ballpark, the nice thick infield grass, it's very hard to get a ground ball through the infield. Good spot to roll over to.
Which would get him out of the inning here. Count 2-2. High to Ethier. Aaron Harang had his season come to a premature end last year because of the appendectomy on the 22nd of August. Did not have any appearances against the Dodgers last year.
Well, in all likelihood, Matt Kemp is going to be taken off on this pitch. He has 2 stolen bases. He's been thrown out 4 times, so it's no cinch that he's going to try to steal. But 3-2 count, 1 out. Pretty good chance they're going to let him loose.
And they do. Phillips will field it on the bounce, but it has to go to first for just the 1.
You know, you get that ground ball 1 pitch earlier, and you're out of the inning.
So a 2 out. Manny Ramirez will step to the plate. Dangerous always, even more dangerous with runners on base. Manny last night 1 for 2.
And with Manny swinging the bat the way he is, I know it's early in the ball game, but here's a guy that can crush the ball. I mean, to all fields. He's hitting .382 right now. He's got a couple of home runs. He's in the middle of the order. There's no reason why, if you get behind in the count, that you have to come in there with a fastball that he can hit. You've got James Loney behind him, who is not nearly the hitter that Manny Ramirez is. Of course, it's a comfort level of pitcher that dictates how you go after who.
And a base hit that should play to run. Manny Ramirez with a stroke to left field. Strong throw from Johnny Gomes. in there as Matt Kemp. So an RBI single by Manny Ramirez to give the Dodgers the first lead of the game.
Well, Manny Ramirez changes his strategy based on the situation out there. And he's a guy that often will take that pitch. I mean, that pitch is a fastball probably 2 or 3 inches off the plate inside. But he's such a good hand-eye contact hitter that he can put that ball in play, was confident enough that he's going to be able to get a fastball on the first pitch, wheeled the lumber, and drove a run in just like that.
So 1-0 Dodgers strike first, as they did last night.
Nothing sweeter for a hitter than a 2-out run batted in.
And a guy that early on this year is well over 300 with runners in scoring position. So James Loney trying to keep the inning going for the Dodgers. Loney last night 1 for 4 and twice was a strikeout victim against Reds pitchers. Cincinnati pitchers managed to get a total of 10 strikeouts against the Dodgers last night.
Well, that changeup right there is a good pitch by Aaron Harang. It was off the plate, never did look like a strike, but that's a great pitch to left-handers in this ballpark, especially guys with a little bit longer swings who may be trying to pull the ball a little bit. But when it comes out of your hand, it has to look like it's going to cover the plate. A little better idea that time.
Loney ranks third on this team with a total of 17 base hits, but that followed an 0 for 9 start to the season at the plate.
Well, that means he got torrid hot for a while.
Light fuse get away. Count 2-1. We talked last night how he has developed into an outstanding defensive first baseman. A .992 fielding percentage in over 450 games at first base.
He's one of those first-round draft picks that have made it good for the Dodgers. He was picked by the Dodgers in the first round in a 2002 amateur baseball draft.
Orang tried to come in tight on him. Manny Ramirez with an RBI single that have gotten the Los Angeles Dodgers on the board first. It has been a pattern for the past week to see the Reds get in first inning trouble. Orang trying to minimize the damage. The Dodgers last night looked like they were going to be sailing right along, scoring 3 times in the top of the first inning.
Well, James Loney right now hanging right in there, and I'll tell you what, you look at his numbers over the years, and he just does not strike out very much. He's not a big, long swing home run hitter. Only had 13 bombs last year, but he does not. He's a tough guy to punch out.
Count 2-2. Chance for Cabrera in the hole. All the way across to first, inning over. But the Dodgers do damage, scoring once and an RBI base hit by Manny Ramirez. 1-0 LA as we head to the bottom of the first. 2-0 lead as we move into the bottom of the first inning here at Great American Ballpark. Time to take a look at the Reds starting lineup. Chris Dickerson is the change from last night in the leadoff spot and in center field.
They're trying to give Drew Stubbs a couple of days off. Orlando Cabrera, Joey Votto, then Brandon Phillips against the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's killed them. 5 home runs, 13 runs batted in. Scott Rowland, back-to-back nights for him. Jay Bruce hit the ball hard last night. Johnny Gomes in left. Ramon Hernandez holding down the number 8 spot. And Aaron Harang on the hill. Opposing Harang, a third-year major leaguer in the United States, that is, with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Hiroki Kuroda. Right-handed pitcher with sinking action on all of his pitches. And he's got about 5 different ones. He'll have lots and lots of ground balls. In fact, he averages nearly 80% ground balls versus fly balls. And watch out for the Shuto.
The who?
The Shuto is a reverse slider that we'll see it from time to time. I think that he throws it more like a split-finger fastball that has a screwball action on it. But that's a Japanese name for that special pitch.
Well, the more around you, the more we learn. Chris Dickerson pounds this into left field. Ramirez giving a chase, and Manny Ramirez grabs it for the first out of the inning. Time to take a look at the forward defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight here at Great American Ballpark. And pretty much the same that we saw last night. Ramirez, who made that grab, is in left field. Same infield as last night. Russell Martin once again behind the plate. Manny being Manny. Nice glove, Manny. Orlando Cabrera. He follows the beat of a different drummer, doesn't he? Cabrera had an 8-game hitting streak end last night. However, he did contribute to the cause with an RBI on a sacrifice fly. He has been a consistent producer. Those numbers may not necessarily show it, but he's had a nice division of hits throughout the young season, and it certainly paid dividends defensively.
Well, what he has really shown me that he's a real good bad ball hitter. I mean, if you throw it up and out of the strike zone, it seems like that's his hot zone. He's picked a ball that's been about 5 or 6 inches inside off the plate and plunked it in for a home run.
Good eye.
Well, let's take a look at the motion of the right-handed Kuroda on the mound tonight. He's got a little bit of a hesitation at the very top right there, and that's just sometimes will draw the hitter off stride a little bit, but a big, long stride, nice loose arm action. That's a solid delivery right there for Kuroda. Likes to sink his fastball, has easy 91, 92 mile an hour fastballs when he throws them at 4 seams. Has a little bit of a splitter, a slider, a cutter. He's just an all-around very good pitcher.
And a Shuto. Joey Votto with 1 out and 1 on.
I'll let you know when we have a Shuto sighting.
Thank you. Explain it to me, Lucy. Joey Votto, who went deep last night on a high fly ball to right field. He's gotten his average over the 300 mark. 1 out, 1 on. The Dodgers with a 1-run advantage thanks to an RBI base hit by Manny Ramirez in the top of the first inning. He just continues to look more comfortable after that bout with illness or whatever it was, a little bit of a back problem. And when Votto gets on base, well, he's leading the Reds in stolen bases right now. Russell Martin flashing the signs for Hiroki Kuroda. "11 years in the Japanese Central League for this 35-year-old Kuroda. Last outing, no decision, and a Dodger win over Arizona. Allowed 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 10 hits, and struck out 7.
And he has struck out 7 in each of his previous 2 starts.
Count 2-1 to Votto. Spills this one foul. Last night, Joey Votto with a high, deep fly ball to right field. One of 2 home runs that the Reds got in the evening in that victory. The Reds put 11 runs on the board. Count 2-2 with Cabrera at first base. Not only was Kuroda a successful professional player in Japan, his father was as well. And a guy that in the postseason a couple of years ago was able to get a victory over the Phillies when the Dodgers played the Phils.
Well, there was quite a bidding war for Kuroda when he declared that he was going to come to the United States and play Major League Baseball. In fact, the Dodgers immediately offered him a big-time 3-year contract. They eventually signed him for a contract in excess of $35 million over 3 years. But the Mariners wanted him. They offered him actually more money. The Mariners did, and so did the Kansas City Royals. They offered him 3 years plus 1 more year to a total of nearly $50 million. He turned that down to be a Dodger.
Joey Votto, good work in the gap in right center field, and that ball is gone. 2 nights in a row that Joey Votto has gone deep and gives the Reds the lead 2-1.
This young man is just so impressive. And the home run is one thing, but all the foul balls that he fouled off to stay alive in that at-bat before he finally got a pitch that he could handle like that, pretty much down the center of the plate, lines it in the right center field gap and over the fence. And just like that, the Reds are up by 1. Man, can he play.
Yes, and hit. Kind of goes back a little bit to what we relayed that Dusty Baker was talking about before the game yesterday. Your chances of getting hits are improved when you hit the ball hard, as he did.
You know, that was a great shot, the last one we had of Votto in that swing. The Exmo shows it, yes, but he really stays behind that ball. He doesn't let his head float frontward or anything like that. He stays, he keeps his weight back, and he just drives that bat through the zone.
Brandon Phillips at the plate. And with those 2 runs having come in on Joey Votto's home run, that equals the sum total of runs that the Reds have scored in the first inning in the first 14 games of the season.
Wow.
Swing and a miss. Brandon Phillips, who went deep to left field last night.
I think Brandon Phillips just saw a shoot-go.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah. I think what happens is that Russell Martin gives you kind of the number 3 sign, the OK 3 sign, and then he gets a split finger grip and he throws it on in there like that. That may have been the same type pitch. Really, it looks like Kuroda might be one of those pitchers that are tough to chart, because he's got so many pitches that are in the same speed range and they all move different ways. You're not sure what they are.
Phillips gets a hold of this one, but it'll be a pop-up to shallow center. Blake DeWitt gathers it in for the second out. Let him throw a blooper pitch in there, and that'll really gum up the works. On comes Scott Rowland, who was welcomed back to the lineup last night with a 3-base hit evening. You know, and you made the comment last night, Chris, that the guy that is having trouble with a bad back, about how when you actually do hit the ball, it creates less stress than when you miss and complete the swing coming through empty. Votto's 2-run homer have given the Reds a 2-1 lead, after a Manny Ramirez RBI single had put the Dodgers up by a single tally in the top of the first. Scott Rowland missed all 3 of the games over the weekend in Pittsburgh with a back problem that really was becoming evident toward the end of the series in Florida with the Marlins. Whoa, look at that one go.
Oh, man.
What do you say, Scott Rowland? That ball got out of the park in a New York minute.
Well, Hiroki Kuroda, meet Scott Rowland and meet Joey Votto. He has yet to give up a home run this year until he came into this ballpark. The Dodger right-hander has given up 2 now, and the Reds' number 3 and 5 hitters are making some loud noise at the plate.
So 3-1 Cincinnati on this blast by Rowland.
Well, look at his head. Does not move one bit. Rolls the top hand over at the very end of that. That is a classic swing right there.
Jay Bruce inching further up in the lineup.
Well, they love Jay Bruce to get hot and stay hot so that he can at least get to this spot in the lineup, which is number 6. That way you're able to go lefty-righty more than bunching a bunch of right-handers together.
Well, a fan's on a strike 3, but the Reds do damage with 2 home runs. First Votto, then Rowland. Cincinnati with a 3-1 lead. Of the first, there's a good look at Jay Bruce. And our game storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Jay Bruce will be part of that, as we show you momentarily. Casey Blake to lead off the second for the Dodgers.
Expectation for me is to be as productive as I can on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. You know, I think that you save runs. You know, you win games on the defensive side too, and you know, I want to drive in as many runs as I can, score as many runs as I can, and prevent as many as I can, and do whatever I have to do in order to put us in a position to win games. And I think that the experience we've gained over the last couple of years is definitely going to help us going forward.
Blake at the plate, but we got a chance to see some of the example last night of Jay Bruce defensively in right field.
Well, he made a game-saving catch last night, Jay Bruce did, and what has impressed me about Jay Bruce is that how hard he works at it. I mean, unless you come out every day, you know, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't get what they really do to prepare. But this play last night, outstanding, on the run, leaping catch on a line drive that was destined to score at least another Dodger run, and maybe put another runner on third base. You never know. But he plays about as good a right field right now as anybody in this league.
Casey Blake, that may have broken the back. Cabrera charging, throwing, got him. Orlando Cabrera gunning down Casey Blake. Also, Jay Bruce is getting recognized for the strength of his arm out there in right field with what he's done.
Well, he's got a good arm. He's got good mechanics and a tremendous arm, as you see right there. And most of his throws are right on the money. One of the keys to having a good arm from the outfield is to throw the ball overhand so it doesn't have a lot of tail on you. And Bruce has got a very good delivery from out there. And I don't think that he works any less on his hitting or any more on his hitting than he does his defense. And that's a refreshing thing to see, a guy that is committed to good fundamental baseball. And, you know, you have to give some credit to Billy Hatcher in that respect. He heads up the defensive work for all the outfielders, and he gets them out there and does a lot of work with them. He knows he's got a bunch of young players out there, like Nix and Dickerson and Stubbs and Bruce, and Hatch has got him out there hustling and sweating every day.
Like he did when he was patrolling the outfield. And another base hit that goes into right field off the bat of Blake DeWitt. So he comes up with a base knock. By the way, those are Elk and Elk storylines. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. There's the sawed-off piece of lumber by Blake DeWitt. That is the second base hit of the night for the Dodgers. Jay Bruce in 2009 tied for 5th with outfield assists. And just think about the time that he missed because of the wrist injury. Or maybe he could have been further up the list. 3-1 Reds with a lead over the Dodgers. Catcher Russell Martin is the hitter with 1 out and 1 on. Aaron Harang got that run support in the bottom of the first on a home run that was knocked out of the yard with a man on by Joey Votto, and then a solar homer from Scott Rowland. DeWitt brief lead at first base. Was it a couple 3 years ago that it was Aaron Harang who seemed to be that hard luck pitcher for the Reds that always seemed to run into lack of support?
Well, it's been that every year for Aaron Harang, and after a while it does work on you. I mean, he averages about 3.2 runs a game on his behalf. The average major league starting pitcher gets about 4.5 runs or 4.7 runs on his behalf. So there's a big difference for a major league pitcher as far as the wins go when you don't get very much run support. That's the one thing that you do not control. But your job is to keep your team in the ball game. And I don't think he's happy with the way he has done it so far this season. I think he's got a lot of room for improvement.
Russell Martin last night 2 for 5. He was also able to score a run and was a strikeout victim during the course of the night. Count is 3-1 on the Dodger catcher. Aaron Harang topped the list last year in the lack of run support. If you look at what he did in 162 plus innings, 3.22 run support per 9 innings, allowed 4.55.
And 4.55 is about the major league average. So if you give up an average number of runs and your team doesn't score that many, you're going to get stuck with a bunch of L's.
Yeah, that's why you end up upside down in that column. DeWitt running, foul by Martin. Kuroda, the pitcher, on deck. Another really nice night for baseball here at Great American Ballpark. This would be one of those nights that was short notice, no serious plans. You'd say to yourself, let's go down to the ballpark.
And what does Self say?
Let's go.
Who's buying?
Self. Or the other self. Unless one self has conveniently left their wallet at home. Tell me you haven't gone to a game with somebody that's done that.
Usually myself.
I will file that away and remember that. Russell Martin right up the middle. Another base hit. Blake DeWitt hits second, slides to third.
Well, elevated the fastball that time, did Aaron Harang. It was a very good at bat by Martin. Fouled a few pitches off to hang right in there and finally gets a pitch up. Ramon Hernandez wants it down and away. Where does it go? It kind of floats back over the plate, comes up and in on Russell Martin, who's got a very short swing anyway. This guy's really a compact type hitter and a tough guy to get out when you get it up there.
So with 1 out and 2 on, pitcher Hiroki Kuroda up there to try and help his own cause. He has had one sacrifice bunt this season. Corners pitching in. The ball gets by Hernandez, and that will allow Martin to move to second. DeWitt holds stationary at third.
Well, that'll probably go down as did they say pass ball or wild pitch?
Pass ball.
That should be a pass ball. There's no reason at all why that ball should not be blocked. Not good fundamentals there by Ramon Hernandez. You got to get down there with a man on third base and make sure it doesn't squib away. Now, the runner at third didn't score, but now you take away any force play at second base, possibility of a double play, and they're going to change your strategy on Kuroda.
No look at bunting here. Kuroda with zeros in his batting average numbers. If he's able to reach, then you go right back to the top of the order. Reds with a 3-1 lead, but the Dodgers threatening here to do something about that. He looks at a strike.
Well, he's not really much of a hitter overall. A 140 hitter in his career. Kuroda has had a total of 2 runs batted in 86 at-bats since coming over from Japan.
And finds himself in a 2-strike disadvantage. Well, he reached out to whack at that one. As the old left-hander used to say, if you swing the bat, you're dangerous.
Well, you are dangerous. There's no question about that. But you've got a lot better chances as a pitcher hitting a fastball than you do a real good breaking ball. Aaron Harang needs to come up way over the top right here and snap off a good one.
So the count 1-2 on starting pitcher Hiroki Kuroda.
Or climb the ladder with a fastball around high.
Okay. Outfielder, especially Jay Bruce, playing shallow in right field, hoping that if a polite fly ball comes out there, puts him in a position to try and cut down the run. And another foul.
Well, he's hanging in there pretty good on the fastball. The first one 92 miles an hour. That last one upstairs at 89. Maybe now time to drop old Uncle Charlie on him.
Uncle Charlie being
the hook.
For those who don't know. Swing and a miss.
Up the ladder. Good pitch.
So the second out of the inning brings you back to the top of the order in Rafael Furcal. It's the first strikeout rung up by Harang tonight. Furcal hit a line drive on the very first pitch of the game right at Brandon Phillips. As we talked about last night, Furcal, long in the years. A couple of years ago had to fight back from some injuries, but he still continues to be a productive player. Started with a ground ball by Blake to shortstop, and then a base hit by DeWitt, followed by another base hit by Russell Martin. A pass ball allowed Martin to get to second base. Kuroda with a strikeout. Furcal cues it down the line and left. That'll bring 2 more in. Furcal speeds his way to second, and a 2-run double by the Dodgers shortstop has given Los Angeles the opportunity to tie the game up.
But I'll tell you what, if you let your guard down against this offense, you're going to pay the price by giving up a bunch of runs. This breaking ball right there just kind of hangs right there for Furcal. Gives him a lot of time to check it out, look at it. He stays inside the ball and gets it right down the left field line. Not a smoking line drive, but certainly well enough hit to get all the way down into the corner. And with his speed, he ends up on second, clears the bases, and ties it all up.
His 5th double of the year, as you see on the television screen there. Matt Kemp looks to keep it going with 2 out. Kemp started the game with a walk. 3-3 tie score. So 6 runs through an inning and 2/3, kind of on the pace for what we saw last night.
It is, but I'll tell you, Aaron Harang's breaking ball is just kind of rolling up there the same way that Homer Bailey's did last night. It's just not a lot of bite to it right now. And he probably knows that. I mean, and then so what you try to do as a pitcher, you see your pitch rolling up there, so you try to throw it even harder, and you end up burying it in the dirt and throwing it with more speed and not as much spin as you want.
And then the problem's compounded with a wild pitch that allows for a call to go to third.
So you back off a little bit and say, all right, I've got to place this pitch exactly where I want to. Use your fingers at the very end of your delivery to get a little extra snap on the ball so it has some extra movement.
Count 2-1 to Kemp. Now 2-2.
Yeah, good spot right there, down and into Kemp, because his power is really to right center field. We saw that last night with the home run that he hit. The dramatic home run late in the ball game was a pitch out over the plate. Loves to take it all that way to right center.
That home run, the 6th of the year by Matt Kemp, now has him tied for the National League lead with Albert Pujols and Chase Utley. So Aaron Harang trying to work out of a jam here. Gave up 1 in the first and has yielded 2 here in the top of the 2nd inning. Of course, this Dodger team this early in the season starting to rank high in a lot of the league offensive numbers. The major league leading top batting average at .306. Lead the league with a .377 on base percentage. Kemp shows some good patience. Count full. 1 on, 2 out. Dodgers have already scored twice to tie the ball game. Badly need a strike here. Slow roller Phillips in a hurry. 3rd out of the inning, but the Dodgers score twice to tie the game at 3-3. Tonight's game, Rex Points II from Florence, Kentucky will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Top of the 2nd, a successful one for the Dodgers as they scored twice to tie the game at 3-3. The Reds got 3 in the bottom of the 1st. A couple of long balls part of the equation. Johnny Gomes, the leadoff hitter in the 2nd. Rafael Furcal fields the grounder and guns him down. That'll bring Ramon Hernandez to the plate. home runs coming from Scott Rowland and Joey Votto for the Reds. Hernandez at an even 200 batting average. Last night 1 for 3 with a couple of runs scored for Ramon Hernandez. The guy that has shown in his career he can be a power threat. Hiroki Kuroda deals him inside. Hernandez with 2 base hits in his last 3 games. On deck is the pitcher Aaron Harang. One and one from Hiroki Kuroda. Outside to Hernandez. Hernandez with a key walk in the 8th inning last night and was on base and scored the second of the 2 runs that allowed the Reds to break up the tie. He scored when Paul Yanish got caught in the rundown between second and first, and Ronnie Belliard dropped the ball at first base. Yanish with a base hit that scored Jay Bruce. Called strike 3 on the outside. And Hernandez having a little discussion about strike number 3. Kroger and the Reds proud to team up to offer you a great value this season. Check concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger Meal Deal, which includes a full-size adult hot dog, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, a cup of Danimals yogurt, all for just $7. Danimals. Aaron Harang, the 2-out hitter. That strikeout, by the way, the second of the night for Kuroda. There's a look at what Aaron has done in his career. Once going deep. Not here, though. Back-to-back strikeouts. The Reds go quietly in the bottom of the second. Game remains tied at 3. Ride him through it.
Really nothing else you can do about that when you know everybody's going to have a bad game or 2 bad games in a month. Nick Masset's got about as good a stuff as anybody on this team. And he's shown himself last year to be a very good setup man in the major leagues. And just because you have a bad game, it doesn't mean you're going to lock the door and keep him out of the bullpen. I mean, you got to keep using him in the way Dusty Baker likes to do it. And I agree with it, is that you get him right back on the horse as quick as you can. So if there's a situation tonight and he's able to pitch, bring him on in.
Last night in a third of an inning, 4 hits, 4 runs, a walk, and a strikeout for Nick Masson. Danimals.
I got you working with the Danimals.
Andre Ethier, the leadoff hitter. I guess that's not necessarily just flat out yogurt, is it? That's like a smoothie drink.
Well, this is a strawberry explosion Danimal.
Okay.
With a picture of Bongo on the front.
Bongo? Bongo the monkey in that movie with President Reagan?
Kind of like it. It's nice and small. Looks like a Big Daddy shot to me.
Is that so?
Give us a round of Danimals, please.
Yes. With a chip chaser. Count 1 and 2. Hey, we're all about selling the products, aren't we? Count 1 and 2 on the Dodger right fielder Andre Ethier, to be followed by Manny Ramirez and James Loney. 3-3 tie score here on the top of the third at Great American Ballpark. Harang delivers high. Jesse back here bogarting the rest of those Danimals.
What's that mean?
Taking them, hiding them, squirreling them away. Ethier, solid contact to right center field, and that one will leave the yard to give the Dodgers a lead as Andre Ethier comes up with his 4th home run of the season. For Aaron Harang, touched up deep again.
Well, Ethier is a pretty good hitter. I'll tell you what, he was obtained by the Dodgers from the Oakland A's in the Milton Bradley deal back when Bradley was a very, very high regarded slugger. And Ethier coming up through the minor leagues with the A's impressed everybody that saw him. And a sweet swing right there on a 2-2 changeup. And Aaron Harang has given up his 6th home run of the season. And the Reds trail by 1.
And Manny Ramirez will try and keep it going for Los Angeles. Andre Ethier just rode that ball out, right out toward the power stacks in right center field, just under the Tundra sign. However, it has to be a Reds player to hit the Tundra sign to win the truck. Ramirez with an RBI to plate the first run of the game. A pinch hit home run on Sunday against the Giants that tied him with Michael Jack Schmidt, number 14 all-time home runs in Major League history. Of course, he was the subject of our text poll question last night. Would you want him as a teammate? As we viewed that as the night went on last night, it certainly seemed to be neck and neck one way or the other. Ended up just about 50-50, we were being told. Count 2 and 2 on the Dodger left fielder. Base hit, right field, Manny Ramirez, his 2nd knock of the night. So Ramirez is on base. When the Reds get it done with an RBI this season, that means another $25 from Shakely for the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. So with Ramirez on, James Loney will come searching for his first base hit of the night. Grounded out to short to end the first inning for the Dodgers. And it is now 4-3, LA with a lead. Loney bounces at the Phillips, shuttles to Cabrera, guns to first, 2 for the price of 1.
Well, there's a ground ball double play that we were talking about. in the first inning, and he got the left-hander to roll over on it. Nice defensive play right there by the Reds, because that ball was not hit all that hard. It took a very good feed by Phillips to get it started. A strong throw by Cabrera, and the 4-6-3 erases the runners and the threat right now.
So Aaron Harang can now settle his attention on Casey Blake. Been an infielder who also has at times in his career, both here in LA with others, long time in the outfield. He had 2 extra base hits last night and a pair of RBIs, a double and a triple. Casey Blake played collegiately at Wichita State. Phillips with another opportunity. This one to end the inning. But the Dodgers managed to scratch across the run as they get a homer from Andre Ethier to take a 4-3 lead. Ohio.com during tonight's game for a live chat with Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy. There's a look at Hal diligently at work in the press box. And, you know, one of the great things about baseball is anybody who's paid attention to it knows are all of the great stories that come out. And Hal, who's covered this team since the early 1970s, certainly has more than his fair share as Chris Dickerson leads off. And yesterday down in the clubhouse before the game, saw Hal, and he was number one, relating how he enjoyed our stories from Pittsburgh about Hal King and Danny Dreesen as the DH.
Oh, you're going back to his area, you see.
Yeah, but he got started talking about, and you may remember this story, back in the early 70s when Davey Concepcion, remember when he got caught in the dryer in the clubhouse at Wrigley Field and somebody turned the dryer on?
I heard that story.
Well, apparently part of the reason that Davey climbed into the dryer was because he was battling a slump, so he went and got in the shower with his full uniform on to try and wash the slump off.
Come on.
And figured
he wanted to dry himself?
He needed to get in the dryer.
That's like John Smoltz ironing a shirt while it was on him. He showed up with a burn mark on his neck. And neither of those guys are left-handed. Especially Concepcion.
Yes, Davey Concepcion. Yeah,
that's a good story. See, that's the kind of thing that Hal McCoy can offer, because he remembers all those stories. He's got a great memory for the little things that went on, especially back in the days of the Big Red Machine. And looking forward to checking out his blogs and his live chats and everything else that Hal does.
Got in the shower with his uniform to wash the slump off. There's a good look at Hal McCoy. Outstanding baseball writer and an even better person. Well, Dickerson grounds out to first base for the first out of the inning. Orlando Cabrera who got a walk in the first inning and then scored on the home run by Joey Votto. We got a look at that number 13 for Dave Concepcion, and there are those who will argue, like Joe Morgan when he was here a few weeks ago, and others, that they think Dave Concepcion should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Cabrera to Furcal. 2 outs. And time to take a look at our Honda standings, and you see how the Reds flair for the dramatic in their last at-bat. Kind of plays into history. That 1970 San Francisco team has managed to do the same thing with 6 games in the Phillies of 1974. All 6 of the Reds' runs coming in their last at-bat. Joey Votto, the 2-out hitter.
Yeah, I'm not so sure Dusty Baker really, you like the wins, but you don't necessarily want to get them like that. I would say that every one of those wins is probably worth 15 gray hairs.
Especially when you consider last night's game after yielding a 6-run lead. Votto right back to Kuroda. And the Reds go in order here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Dodgers with a 4-3 lead. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers, where you can register to win the Tundra at Great American Ballpark. By JTM, food, family, fun, JTM. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by GMC, we are professional grade.
Well, it looks like the Dodger starter Hiroki Kuroda has kind of settled into his game. He's retired the last 7 Reds batters he has faced. You hope that Aaron Harang kind of reaches his mid-game rhythm, too. And this is when pitchers begin to just kind of rock and fire, find their spots, and hope that Harang can go out there and have himself a nice, easy 1-2-3 inning.
Well, a play like that would help with Cabrera.
He could use it now. He's already thrown 69 pitches here in 3 1/3.
That would be a big help to them. Cabrera fields the fly ball by Blake DeWitt. Russell Martin hits next. Martin with a base hit, and then eventually came around and scored on an RBI double by Rafael Furcal. 4-3, Dodgers with a lead over the Reds. LA scoring in each inning of business so far tonight. The Reds put a 3 spot up in the bottom of the 1st. You know, the Dodgers' normal backup catcher, Brad Ausmus, just recently went on the disabled list. Grounded to Cabrera at short. 2 outs. And we'll fill you in a little more about the significance of Ausmus going on the disabled list in a moment. But time now for our AT&T trivia question. Which two players in Major League history won an MVP and Manager of the Year award? One of them is sitting over there in the Los Angeles dugout.
Not in the same year.
No.
Okay.
Not in the same year. MVP as a player and Manager of the Year award. I believe Joe Torre won it in 1970. Well, with the Braves, the MVP. And then his seasons as a Dodgers or as a Yankee skipper. Other one? We're talking current managers, I would suspect.
No, I think
No?
you're going to have to go
Okay.
back a ways to find the other one.
Kuroda, the Dodger pitcher, is at the plate. Yogi Berra, maybe?
Pretty good guess.
Shot down. Thank you. Count 2-2 to Kuroda, and he is a strikeout victim to end the inning. The answer will be coming forthwith. The Dodgers have a 4-3 lead over the Reds. For the fourth inning at Great American Ballpark, it is picture time out in the stands. Time for the answer to our AT&T trivia question. Which two players in Major League history won an MVP and Manager of the Year award? We think Joe Torre is pretty much one of them. Kind of struck out.
How could we miss Frank Robinson?
Oh, my goodness.
Manager of the Year when he was with the San Francisco Giants.
Oh.
Triple Crown winner, of course, with the Baltimore Orioles.
There's your Stump Hall entry right there.
There's the other one right there.
Yep. Won it as a player with the Atlanta Braves, Joe Torre. Frank Robinson. King Robbie. You know, as kids, we used to drive past his house over on Section Road over in Amberley Village. My dad used to point out that's where Frank Robinson lives. I said, Dad, it's a big lawn. They must need a few people to cut that lawn. It didn't take that long to mow ours. Brandon Phillips to lead off the inning for the Reds. Busy night at shortstop. And And for Paul, guns down Phillips.
The ground balls off the bats of sinker ball pitches that Hiroki Kuroda has thrown up there. We've got a couple of guests in our booth up here tonight.
Yes, we do.
Heels. My daughter Carrie has graced us with her presence to join us here, and she's brought a friend all the way from Dublin, Ireland, Lorraine McLaughlin, who's seeing her first Major League Baseball game. Lorraine, give us a first impression of American baseball.
It's absolutely beautiful. When I came into the ballpark, I'd never seen anything like it except for on TV and movies and things like that, so it's really exciting.
They don't have anything like this in Dublin, do they?
No, they certainly don't. We have Croke Park, which is the national stadium, and it's beautiful, but none of this, like the teams and the mascots and the screens and everything and the fireworks and everything is great.
Well, we hope to see more fireworks because you only see those when the Reds hit home runs, but we're certainly happy to see here. Now, I would imagine you don't have this much red splendor in Ireland either.
You mean the TV screens and everything, or like the seats and... Do you mean the screens and everything?
The screens, the seats, all the red uniforms?
Yeah, when everything is always green, as you know, or unless it's county colours, which vary as well. So.
All right, now I've got to ask you a personal question. You're here visiting my daughter, Carrie. Is she treating you right over here during your American visit?
She couldn't be treating me any better. It's absolutely wonderful. It's I was on the phone to my parents today, and they were saying to me that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come over here and spend time doing these things. So they're really happy for me as well. It's great.
Is she showing you some of the local pubs?
She is. As well. A lot of them happen to be Irish pubs as well, which is good. But a few more Cincinnati ones wouldn't go astray either.
Well, we certainly are happy to have you up here. And Carrie, you didn't use my tourist list for her, did you?
No, I used my own.
Way to go.
Well, thank you, ladies, for coming on up. Enjoy yourself, Lorraine. Enjoy the rest of your trip here in America. I hope you have a great time. And, Carrie, keep up the good tour work. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Hope to see you again. Thanks.
Did Dan do a good job getting tickets? Good.
That was all up to Gary Wayhoff. We thank Gary every time that happens. Thanks, guys.
Ladies, thank you very much.
We'll see you later on, all right?
Thanks for stopping up to visit us. Well, that's nice to see your daughter is such a gracious hostess. Scott Rowland with a base hit. From Dublin, Ireland.
Seeing her first Major League game. Wow. That's like one of us going over to Dublin and watching a hurling match for the first time and really not knowing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Except watching those guys bludgeon the heck out of each other.
Count 0-1 to Jay Bruce. I take it you've not been to Ireland.
I've been twice.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Carrie actually went over as an exchange student for a couple of semesters, and I also went over there on a guy's golf trip.
Oh, is that so? Should have known.
Wouldn't mind do that again, I'll tell you.
One out, rolling at first. Bruce at the plate. Reds trailing by a run, 4-3. Now, we should point out, too, because I've got some friends out there watching these games who've been known to raid press boxes before. This door isn't always open. It's not just free reign for people to come visit us.
Well, I'm kind of like a player's manager.
Okay.
Open door policy until it gets abused.
Like I said, I've got some buddies who have been known.
We have a double padlock, too.
One of them actually ended up on an elevator with Mrs. Schott at Riverfront Stadium some years ago. And they used to sneak up into the press box at Nippert Stadium when I was doing the UC games. And those folks out there watching, you know who you are. 1-2 the count to Jay Bruce. Oh, nice hard ball that gets by DeWitt. And runners will be at the corners. So a heads-up base run by Scott Rowland.
Boy, is that ever aggressive and wonderful base running by Scott Rowland right there. You talk about taking the game to the opposition. This is what Rowland does right here. That ball hit like a bullet. I don't know what happened to Blake DeWitt right here. He just overran that ball. It must have had a little bit of a hook on it when it hit and exploded in the dirt. But Rowland, very aggressive all the way to third. Andre Ethier's got a very good arm in right field and made a nice throw, and it was bang-bang at third base. So even though it goes down as an error, another hard-hit ball by Jay Bruce.
He did rule out an error, eh?
Yeah, that should be an error, too. That's a double play ball in the big leagues. But you got to love the way Roland plays.
So E4 on DeWitt. And up comes Johnny Gomes, who all of a sudden finds himself 5th in the National League in batting average. Or with runners in scoring position.
Well, he's gotten himself out lately, really being very aggressive at the plate. And you know, once you play a team, or once you play a few teams and advanced scouts are able to watch you play, they're expecting you to fall into a certain pattern. And Gomes does that. He's up there to swing the bat early in the count and do some damage. Made himself an easy out the first time up with a routine ground ball to shortstop. He could be a little selective right here with runners on.
And the count 1-0. Pop fly. For call. 2-0.
That looks like Gomes had a pretty good swing at this pitch. He just got under a little bit. Maybe looped his bat a hair on that pitch. It was kind of moving away from him. Not happy with the result as it pops up to the shortstop.
So the 2-out hitter is Ramon Hernandez. A strikeout victim, looked at a third strike. In the second inning, the first of back-to-back Ks put up there by Hiroki Kuroda. Rolling with a single. Moved to third on the ball, scored an error that was hit by Jay Bruce, who's hanging out at first base. 4-3, Dodgers with the lead. A hurling match. Would know when to cheer, when to boo, when to stand or sit. Aaron Harang, by the way, here in the 4th inning, the first time that he had retired the side in order. So maybe that's the start of some good things for the Red starter, who's in the on-deck circle. 4-3 Los Angeles. Rolling at third. Bruce at second. Or first, excuse me, Jay Bruce. He started to go to second, but you talked about that throw. That held him up. Billy Hatcher in the first base coaching box for the Reds. Mark Berry down in the third base coaching box.
I don't think you attempt to steal right here unless you're absolutely positive that you're going to make it. And the way Russell Martin threw the ball last night, there are no certainties about that. He threw the ball very well.
1-1.
And the main reason is because you have a man on third base. A base hit right here is going to give you at least one more run. You could run yourself out of an inning by attempting a stolen base and being thrown down.
Somebody make a nice grab on that foul. Or just folks enjoying themselves. Count 1-2 on the Reds catcher. With 2 out and 2 on, and Cincinnati down a run. Kuroda stares over the shoulder at first base at Jay Bruce. Have you ever seen anybody caught on that step?
Well, the only way you will catch somebody on that is if the runner from first base is actually going to steal, because he's going to go on the first move the pitcher makes. So he lifts his leg, you go to second base, and that's about when you're only going to, when you see it happen. It's not a bad idea to try it from time to time.
Ball may be the effect of the divided attention.
Now, this is one of those situations where Ramon Hernandez actually expands the strike zone a little bit, because you've got Aaron Harang in the on-deck circle, and Kuroda knows that if I lose Hernandez here, I can still get the pitcher with the bases loaded. So Hernandez may want to swing at a pitch just off the plate to see if he can't put that in play. He's not waiting for a pitch right down the middle now with 2 strikes on him, because he's not going to get one. This is where you know that you've got to step up and maybe hit a bad ball to pick up a ribby.
Count runs full. Hernandez acquired prior to last season from the Baltimore Orioles. The deal that sent Ryan Friel to Baltimore. Two on, two out, count full, 4-3. Dodgers with the lead. Hiroki Kuroda against Ramon Hernandez. All four to load him up for Aaron Harang.
Yeah, he wanted nothing to do with Ramon Hernandez right there, even though he had the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Harang was an easy strikeout victim on 3 pitches his last time up. And so Aaron, you know, his best shot now may be taking a hack at the first pitch he sees. Maybe it's a fastball.
It's the second walk of the night issued by the Dodgers starter Hiroki Kuroda,
who coming into this ball game had not walked a batter except for an intentional walk in one of his previous 2 games.
Aaron Harang with a big time opportunity to help himself. Pop fly. Almost back this way. Just over there by where the scribes are in the press box. Be ready, Jim Day. Rolling at third, Bruce at second. Hernandez at first. 4-3, Dodgers with the lead. Aaron Harang. Held up. Dickerson, the on-deck batter. These 2 teams back here tomorrow night. Evening game as well. It'll be Mike Leake and Vicente Padilla, the starting pitchers. 7:10 first pitch. The Reds will be at home over the weekend with the San Diego Padres. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. Then an off day before going back on the road to Houston and then to St. Louis. 1-2 on Harang with the bases full of Reds. Kuroda trying to get off the hook. As we saw earlier, Aaron does have 1 career home run. That came last year, July 24th, off Randy Wells of the Cubs. He's trying to hang in there. You know, we all think so favorably of Joe Nuxhall and all the things he did, Chris. If I remember, didn't Joe have like 13 home runs in his pitching career?
He was a great athlete, Joe was.
You know, he was quite the golfer. 1-2. Aaron Harang with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And we mentioned Aaron Harang going deep against Randy Wells of the Cubs. Well, of course, it came at Wrigley Field. Into the basket.
Well, he's got an interesting situation here on a 2-2 count. You know, Kuroda does not want to go full. So Aaron's expecting a pitch over the plate right here.
And he shoots it into right field, and it is going to be a catch. Oh, I thought that squeezed in for a minute. But Andre Ethier.
He's going to get an argument out of that. Billy Hatcher went out to argue. Even from here, it looked like he trapped that ball, that it bounced before the glove. Dusty Baker's going to go out and do the same thing to find out exactly what that umpire saw. But that looked like that was a trap.
Andre Ethier came charging in. Here's a look at it.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe a better look here.
Oh, no, that bounce. That's a definite trap.
Nonetheless, it is out number 3. Dodgers hang on to a 4-3 lead over the Reds.
come to a decision that it was big enough that you're going to overturn the call, that's exactly what they will do, and that's exactly what they did. Take a look at it right there. As that ball bounces before it goes into the glove of Andre Ethier, the line drive by Aaron Harang will now be a base hit. The Dodgers are coming back onto the field. The Reds have taken their respective places on the base paths, and a great at-bat by Aaron Harang has driven in the tying run, and the inning alive.
So a base hit, RBI, and they allow just one advancement of a station by the base runners out there. So Roland scores. Bruce moves to third. Hernandez to second. Harang at first. So with 2 outs, the Reds have tied the game. As the 4th inning continues, they'll allow Hiroki Kuroda to throw a few warm-up pitches here.
Boy, you don't see that very often.
I was just going to ask.
I mean, you'll see sometimes a call overturned, but not in the particular circumstances that we just saw, where it actually ended the inning with the bases loaded, allows a run to score, as opposed to stranding the bases loaded. And really, they really made the right call. And if Major League Baseball is out to get the right call, they're on the right track.
Well, the Dodgers had gone into the dugout. The Reds had not yet gone out to set up defensively. So the inning will continue, and the bases remain loaded for the Reds' leadoff hitter, Chris Dickerson. So the game is tied at 4. Dickerson, a fly ball to left and a bounce out to the first baseman, Maloney. And give Ethier some credit for keeping that ball in front of him. Had that gotten by him, everybody could have scored. So center fielder Chris Dickerson, a 2-out hitter, but the base is still juiced. Dickerson wore the collar Sunday in Pittsburgh. Had or Saturday in Pittsburgh, I should say. Had a big pinch hit triple on Friday night and scored on a sacrifice fly, what ended up being the tying run of that Friday night game that the Reds then lost to the Pirates. 4-4 the score. Rookie Kuroda, his pitch count has to be escalated.
Pitch number 71 for Kuroda was an early exit last night for Chad Billingsley. It was an early exit last night for Homer Bailey. Both the managers are feeling the pressure of overusing their bullpens, which they've been doing that all year long.
1-1 the count. And the native Californian Chris Dickerson, the center fielder.
Well, not only is Dickerson a native Californian, he's actually from Hollywood, California. Don't you know that he's got that added extra incentive to try to make his favorite team when he was growing up burned a little bit by a great performance this evening.
Count 1-2. Hiroki Kuroda. Strikeout ends the inning. But the game is tied 4-4. Reds and Dodgers. Scott Rowland going deep for one of the 4 Reds runs that have been secured on the night. He hit that home run, his 4th of the season in the first inning. Our Coors Light cold hard blast. Reds and the Dodgers are tied at 4 as we move to the top of the 5th inning here at Great American Ballpark, and it's our pleasure to have joining us here in the booth Joe Morgan, who today was named as a special advisor to the Reds front office. Joe, thanks for stopping up again. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and back in Cincinnati.
That was kind of you were a little emotional there when all that was announced today.
Well,
you were talking about everything.
You know, and most people should understand, I had some of my greatest times of my life here, you know, with the likes of Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, George Foster, Ken Griffey Jr., Concepcion, all those guys. And, you know, as the point is, I'm the one that's back now. I'm sure when Pete came back to manage, it had to be an emotional time for him, you know, being able to come back.
Well, you're coming back in a little different position than Pete Rose did as a manager, of course. Now, you've been named as a special assistant.
No, I'm a special advisor to the Reds. We have to get that terminology correct. I actually, you know, I just came back from a community affair with, you know, Phil Castellini. One of the things that I've decided is that if I'm going to criticize teams that don't have African-American players, then I should be willing to try to do something about it. I think here in Cincinnati, there are a lot of players, not just African-American players, but other players, kids who can't play baseball because they can't afford it. In my opinion, baseball is becoming kind of an elitist sport in that the traveling teams, all the stuff you see here, you have to have a lot of money to do that. The Reds have a community fund which is, you know, helping the communities to be able to play baseball, and I wanted to be a part of that. I want to help get kids playing baseball again. This is an American sport, and I want, you know, the kids here to have an opportunity to play in the big leagues. You know, as you know, a lot of the money is being spent in academies on, you know, foreign soil, and that's fine. I don't ever disagree with that, but I would like to have our guys, our kids here, have the same opportunity to play the game.
Well, Joe, you know, having played here for so long, the great legacy of amateur baseball that has come out of Cincinnati. Guys like Dave Parker, Pete Rose, obviously, Eddie Brinkman, Buddy Bell. I mean, you can just go on and name all the very fine players that came through here. So there's some talent here.
Correct.
But it has really not been mined, especially in the inner city, and those players that may have chosen other sports and other things to do instead of playing baseball.
And that's what we're talking about, trying to not reverse the cycle. I don't think you can do that. I just trying to go forward from now on and try to give those kids an opportunity to play.
Well, this happens to be one of the 4 nights that the Reds have cooperated with the Powell Crosley Jr. Amateur Baseball Fund. It's one of the Kid Glove nights.
Right.
You know, from back in your day, I think the Reds used to play a special exhibition game back in those days, either against Detroit or the Indians. Now what they've done is they've donated 12,000 tickets or thereabouts for 4 separate games, and then those amateur baseball players are out to sell those ticket vouchers in their neighborhood, and in return, all that money goes to equipment that gets doled out amongst all the amateur teams in the area, both softball and baseball. A great program, but that's something that would probably be, you know, I'm involved very deeply with them. They would be happy to work with you.
Exactly. Well, there are a lot of people who are willing to work. We just have to be able to focus all that energy the right way.
Matt Kemp with a fly ball for the first out of the inning. Joe, is there a need from an infrastructure standpoint, fields, backstops, things like that to help the cause?
Yeah, one of the things I plan on doing is writing the commissioner a letter and letting him know that I'm here and I would like some support and maybe try to build some more fields. Baseball has funds that they build fields with, you know, around the country and so forth. And I would like to, you know, be a part of that here in Cincinnati. And when I say Cincinnati, I mean in the entire area, you know, of Cincinnati, not just proper.
Game tied at 4 as Andre Ethier stands in with a run on for the Dodgers.
Well, you were mentioning, you know, all the great players, you know, who have come out of here in amateur baseball. You know, I was in St. Louis the other day, and they do not have an African-American player on their team, nor do they have a coach. And you think of the legacies of the Bob Gibsons, the Lou Brocks, the Kurt Floods, and, you know, and on and on. And so, like you say, there has to be a reason for that.
to do all of this, Joe, just because of the current ownership, the current management? Is that something that excites you even more?
Definitely. I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't, for the Castellini family. And I knew they were interested in doing these things, and they were doing them without me. This is not something that I'm creating. They were already doing things in the community, and I just want to be able to help them.
Well, the Reds Community Fund has had such a great impact on young players and their ability to play baseball in the area, get funding, and the field renovations that they've done. They've renovated over 150 fields over the last few years since the inception of the fund, run by Charlie Frank, who does a great job. I know you've been working closely with him, and I think it's a great endeavor. Not only to get young players to play in the major leagues, because the odds are against most of them, but
just to play the game.
Play the game, learn how to play on a team sport, play for your teammates, and those are the kind of lessons in life that can last a long time.
Andre Ethier looking at a 2-1 count. He homered earlier in the game.
I've always said that athletics teaches you more about life than life itself, because you're up one day, down the next. No one wins every day. You have to learn to pick yourself up and move forward and work harder the next day, and that's what life's all about.
Now, in addition to being a special advisor to the Reds, you're also going to be a guest commentator and television broadcaster here from time to time.
That's what I'm doing now.
We need the help.
I'm going to come. Hopefully, you guys will invite me in for a couple of innings here and there, and
always
I can watch the game from this perspective instead of watching from someplace else.
Game looks easy from up here, doesn't it?
Yeah. I have to tell you, over the years, I hear a lot of players who retire. They say, well, I don't want to ever forget how easy the game, how difficult the game is. It is difficult, but as you know, if you follow certain fundamentals, do things the right way, it's not as difficult. It's always going to be difficult to hit. It's always going to be difficult to make that clutch pitch. But if you follow fundamentals, it happens.
Brandon Phillips can't get to one. Runner on the move, so the Dodgers will have for call, advancing to third base on the base hit by Andre Ethier. In some of that broadcasting role, I know you talked, Joe, at the press conference today. You're going to get a chance to work with Marty Brennaman on the radio, too?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be a guest there as well. Almost.
Yeah, that's a problem with running that count full in a situation like that, because you automatically, especially with a runner like Rafael Furcal, you're going to set him in motion, so automatically he's going to end up on third on a base hit.
Yeah, if he wasn't running, he'd had to hold, make sure that ball went through to the outfield, and he wouldn't have been able to get to third. So the 3-2 count was the reason, as you say, that he was able to get over there.
So the always dangerous Manny Ramirez will step in looking for his third base hit of the night.
How do you pitch this guy, Joe?
The only way I've seen anyone with success is fastball above the belt inside. That's the only time, but you can't do it consistently because he'll adjust. He'll look for the pitch in there and do something with it. But I've always said, when he was at the top of his game, he was one of the best hitters that I've ever seen. I mean, ever. Because he handled all pitches in all positions pretty well.
Really stays inside the ball.
Yeah.
Is this a good fit for him with the Dodgers, with Joe Torre, and just kind of the makeup of that team?
Well, I thought it really was, before the incident last year when he was suspended. He's not quite as jovial now as he was before. I watched him around the batting cage today. He's just a little more introverted now than he was before. And I don't know if that's just a direct result of the suspension he had, but he's definitely a little more subdued now.
Moran gets him to chase one, but bounces shallow into right field, and that'll bring Furcal in for another Dodger run to give LA the lead.
So that's what you're talking about. You go inside on him, but he's so strong, he fights it off. If he'd have been trying to pull that ball, then he would have been jammed.
And he ends up with his second RBI of the night.
Yeah, that is a little pop-up through the second baseman or first baseman for a lot of people.
Right.
Another three-hit night.
But that's the place you have to pitch him.
Yeah.
Inside.
So James Loney will dig in. Looking for his first hit of the night. Bounced into a double play in the third. Grounded out to Cabrera at short in the first. Joe, here's a look at some of your action. When you were up here the other week, we were talking about the World Series up there in Boston.
Yeah, that's obviously one of my fondest memories, and that was our first World Championship, and we hadn't won here in Cincinnati in a long time.
Scott Rowland will track that soft fly down. Second out.
Well, he got in on loaning as a pop-up. Manny Ramirez, because of the way he swings and because he keeps a level bat, he was able to hit a little soft line drive over second base.
And this one gets in on him a little bit. Loney's got a little bit longer swing, obviously, than Ramirez does. He's a taller guy with longer arms and just kind of carved that ball a little bit rather than coming right through it. Well, we got you up here, Joe. I want to ask you, we have that video. What was the deal with your left arm going up and down? You had everybody in the neighborhood doing that, you know.
Yeah, I remember when I was playing, they were doing it. When I first started, I played in Houston. That was the biggest ballpark in the world. And it was 390 to straightaway right field, not right center, but straightaway. And I had that 389-foot fly ball down every night. So I said, we got to get the ball out of the air.
And that meant keeping your elbow down and closer to your body.
Nellie Fox, who was one of my idols as a kid, happened to be a coach, and he said, well, we got to get the ball out of the air. And it's almost the opposite, actually. What happens is if you play golf, you keep your right elbow in, and that's what gets the ball in the air. I had a habit of doing this. This elbow would hit my body, and I'd, drop my back shoulder. So when I did this, it just went to the right spot, and I just would go from there to there instead of it being too close to my body. So I got the ball out of the air, and that was the main thing, because I just had too many fly balls in that big ballpark.
Casey Blake with a swing and a miss. Yeah, then some years later, I think when you went back, or maybe it was after you'd gone back when they brought the fences in.
Yeah, they brought the fences in when they traded me. Hey, one of the guys they traded me for was Lee May, and they wanted him to hit home runs, so they brought the fences in.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, after I left, that was pretty weird. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, the year before I left, I was one of the leading home run hitters on the team. I think I had 14 or whatever. And they traded me for Lee May, and they brought the fences in, and guys had a bit more success there.
Great.
Yeah. But I think they knew when your second baseman is tied for your home run lead, something's wrong with that picture.
Even then, after bringing the fences in, it was a difficult place to hit home runs. I mean, in the gaps, it was the balls would just die there.
It was unbelievable because people thought the 390 in right field was right center, but it was straightaway right field. And so it was unbelievable.
There's a look at your numbers through your career, Joe.
Yeah, obviously, after I got to Cincinnati, a lot of things happened for me.
Cabrera will field this one. Makes the throw, Orlando Cabrera. So the Reds get out of the inning, but still trail by a run. 5-4. We'll be right back. Field at Nippert Stadium for the annual Bearcat Bowl, Saturday at 7. Coach Butch Jones leads the Bearcats in his first spring game, so don't miss a minute of the action Saturday at 7 on Fox Sports Ohio.
Isn't that the Big O right there?
That's the Big O.
The Big O.
From the University of Cincinnati, Oscar Robertson. The Reds and the Dodgers, LA with a lead of 5-4 as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Orlando Cabrera coming in. Paul Keels, Chris Welsh, and Joe Morgan joining us. Joe today named as a special advisor to the Cincinnati Reds. Joe's been talking about some of the things that you're going to do, and all of it kind of punctuated by your affection to being back here in this city that meant so much to you during your time.
Definitely. I went with Phil to a church gathering tonight. We'd met some people here, and they invited us out, and we went out there to a church gathering tonight. And one of the things that I want to emphasize to people, I'm not just here today and gone tomorrow. I'm actually, it's a commercial, but I'm building a Honda dealership here, so I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in the area for a long time.
All right, now tell us where your Honda dealership is.
On 75, going north toward Dayton and the Route 63, right there at 29, exit 29, where the new mall is. Monroe, right, yeah. Where the new mall is. I was up there today looking at it. Nice walls and the floor. Nice walls and the floor.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah. I know it cost me a lot for that, but for that wall and the floor.
Well, it looks better now than it did.
You're right.
Snow, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, having grown up around the car business, my father was a car dealer here in Cincinnati for a long time. I know that that is a challenging but a profession that brings some great reward and success.
Yeah.
Cabrera flies out.
I don't think there's anything that's not challenging nowadays, economically, I should say, in this country. So,
isn't that the truth? Yeah.
Well, to follow up on your talk about your home run and leading the team when you were with the Astros back in 1971, Joe, you did. We had 13 home runs, led the team. Doug Rader, the Rooster, Red Rooster, had 12, and Cesar Cedeno, who went on to have himself a very fine major league career, had 10 that year. Those were the home run leaders for the entire season.
I didn't realize that I led the team. I just knew I was one of the leaders, but that's why they needed to trade for Lee May and somebody, trying to get some power there, because when you're second baseman, like I said, little second baseman, hitting 13 home runs leads your team, you're in trouble.
If I remember right, too, then in the 70 season, you started at second in the All-Star game at Riverfront.
Yeah, I played. I didn't actually start, but I played in it. My crowning moment is I'm the guy that was standing there when Pete ran over Ray Fosse.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and but I'm proud of myself because I'm the one that went to see if Ray Fosse was okay. Everybody else was celebrating. I thought he was hurt. I wasn't in the on-deck circle. I was the next hitter, but I ran out to congratulate Pete, but then I saw that he was hurt, and Ray had been a friend, and he was never the same after that, actually.
Is it Billy Grabarkowitz that was on deck?
You know what? I don't remember who was on deck. That's a good question.
Joey Votto up the middle, base hit. Of course, Pete Rose came charging around third on the throw from right field from Amos Otis of the Kansas City Royals. Some of the Reds that were on that team that year: Jim Merritt, Wayne Simpson, Tony Perez started at third in that All-Star game.
That was interesting. That was an interesting All-Star game. I mean, it really was. For me, it was interesting because it was actually the first one I played in. I was selected to start in '66, but I got hurt before the All-Star game, so I didn't get a chance to play. And that was actually the first time I played.
We were telling the story over the weekend in Pittsburgh as Brandon Phillips comes up with Bobby Crosby playing. His dad ended up being on the Reds team when Davey Concepcion, right before the All-Star game, broke his leg.
Now, Joe, you've seen this young man play for a few years now. Brandon Phillips, he's won a Gold Glove. He's gone 2020. What does he have to do to take it to the next level?
Well, I think that Brandon, consistency, not giving away at bats. That's one of the things that, I talk to a lot of the players about, that I talk to, around baseball. Don't give away at bats. And you find, if you ask a player, at the end of a week, and go back and go over each at bat, how many he gave away, I guarantee you they give away 4 or 5 at bats a week. Pete Rose didn't give any away. The good hitters do not give them away.
And he may be the best example of anybody who never gave a bat away. It didn't matter what the score was.
Right. They tell me that Albert Pujols is like that. He wants to hit, even if it's 10-0, and he doesn't give up an at bat. And that's the key to consistency and getting better. Don't give up any at bats. And you know what? When I say give up any bats, for the fans to understand, guy throws your first pitch sinker down away, and you just reach out and hit a little ground ball to shortstop or for second base. You don't get a pitch that you can drive it through the infield. If you get a pitch you can drive through the infield and you pop it up, that's all you can do. But if you make an out on a pitcher's pitch before you have 2 strikes or you're in the hole, then that's what I call giving up and giving away in the bat.
We had a look at some of the 20 home run, 20 stolen base second basemen in baseball history, where, Joe, your name and Brandon are mentioned prominently there.
And he's got his sights on you this year now, Joe.
Okay.
There you go. Also,
oh, that's right. I've done it, what, 4 times? He's trying to do it for his 4th time. Good.
Surrounded by some outfielders there.
Well, outfielders, that's different. hey, they don't get banged up at second base. They don't have guys sliding into their legs, you know. Hey, I can show you, they don't have all these scars I have on mine, you know. They put scars on infielders.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but it was a little rougher back in the day. I mean, you don't see the roll blocks that you used to see now back in the day when you were getting rolled over.
No doubt. I mean, that's why I have, as I said, a zipper on my left knee, because Tommy Agee hit me on the cross body block. They don't do that as much anymore, but it's the same as pitching, though. They don't knock guys down as much anymore. It's not part of the game anymore. I remember when you'd have guys knock you down just for no reason. You know, just as they say, just to remind the next guy that, hey, when you come up, I might do the same to you. I need a lot of help there from Danny Dreesen.
And here's the play we were talking about.
Play.
Yeah,
that's
we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's my favorite play, because, I mean, I made a perfect throw to Johnny, and Johnny was no way he was going to let Odom score.
And Phillips see out his way for a base hit. Votto is going to take the turn and scoot on to third base. But not in enough time. Wow. So Brandon Phillips with his first base hit of the night, but Votto is erased.
Well, they ran on Ethier earlier when it was Scott Rowland who made it on a slide in there, and a very close play. I thought he got his foot in there.
Well, it looked like he hits him on the knee, so his foot was already in. That's what it appears to me. Let's see. Yeah, see, he hits him on the knee.
Here's the Exmo look.
Oh, maybe he did get him.
He got it right.
He did get him on the knee, but his foot wasn't there yet.
That's Andy Fletcher, third base umpire. Got to give him some credit.
Give Andy.
Scott Rowland digging in. Hit his 4th homer of the season in the first inning, also as a single.
I think that was a good play by Votto, because the throw had to be perfect. And how many times do they make a perfect throw from right field that far? They usually do not, but he made a perfect throw on that one.
Yeah, you'd rather see runners thrown out for, being too aggressive rather than not at all.
Right. But, I mean, you got to think. I mean, just think where that throw was. If it's a foot to the right or left, he's safe.
Rowland ties into one. And Matt Kemp will track it down in center field. 5-4, Dodgers still will lead. Joe, it's a pleasure as always. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you. See you guys later on.
You got it. We will be back in just a moment.
Inning, Jim Day back with you out near the bullpen. And this type of year, you're trying to set up the bullpen and figure out which role fits which player. Now, who should be the bridge to Francisco Cordero, the Reds closer? We want you to decide. The number you text to is 37664. Text 1 if you think it should be Nick Massett, 2 for Mike Lincoln, 3 for Daniel Ray Herrera, or 4 for Arthur Rhodes. Who should be that proverbial setup guy? Standard text message rates apply. Again, 37664. We'll have the results coming up.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Blake DeWitt to lead off the inning, and he gets a good punch on one, but Dickerson speeds after it to grab it for the first out of the inning. 5-4, Dodgers with a lead here on the top of the 6th inning. Here's a look at some of the early results, and, you know, maybe a little bit of an emotional vote right now on the heels of what happened with Nick Massett last night. And let's try and keep in mind, too, Nick Massett is coming off of 2009, where he really turned some heads in a good way with one.
Well, there's no question about that, but Arthur Rhodes is not a bad alternative. I mean, you know, I was always under the impression of that bridge to Francisco Cordero would be a 2-lane bridge. One would be Rhodes and one would be Massett, really depending on the batting order of that inning, whether there were a couple of left-handers in there or not.
You know, we've seen a couple instances recently, too, where Daniel Ray Herrera has been more than just a one-batter specialist. Well, he may figure in expanding his role as Daniel Ray Herrera is getting loose in the bullpen. Russell Martin, the batter for the Dodgers. Arthur Rhodes, the popular candidate right now. Certainly, we've seen Mike Lincoln atone for what was a rough start to the season on opening day.
I mean, you really can't judge a reliever based on 1 or 2 outings. I mean, here we are, we're only a couple of weeks into the season now, and haven't even played 2 full weeks of baseball as far as games worth. And, you know, let's see how it pans out. I think the Reds did very well at the back end of the bullpen last year with Massett and Rhodes really sharing that, you know, that particular task equally. And who knows, there may be somebody else stepping up before too long.
Russell Martin and Cabrera can't quite come up with that one.
Well, you can almost see that happening. Kind of happened in slow motion. Aaron Harang may have been able to get to that ball, but he decided not to leap for it and maybe just tip it and then make it tougher for the infielder. Cabrera coming in, he's got to scoop it, and the ball just didn't come up high enough for him.
Infield base hit is the scoring decision. So Russell Martin on, and Hiroki Kuroda
scoring. We are in the big leagues, right?
Allegedly. So a base hit, Kuroda up to show bunt. And we got a pickoff play as Brandon Phillips ducked in behind Russell Martin as the pitch was being made.
Well, that's a pre-designed play, and there are a lot of teams that put that on. It's a very effective play, and it really is up to the first base coach. Every time a runner gets down there in that situation, you have to remind the guy, hey, the Reds have this play, you know, the Cardinals have this play, the Pirates have this play. They all have them, and it's where the second baseman, Brandon Phillips, will take off at the pitch. And he'll sneak in behind that runner in the event the pitcher bats through the ball.
Kuroda gets the bunt down. Votto looked to second. But on to Phillips to retire Kuroda, so the sacrifice.
Take a look at that defensive play again, the one previous. Here's Brandon. He's going to come circling behind first base right here. And so if the pitcher bunts through the pitch right here, or it's a ball, and he doesn't have it, you're hoping that the guy at first base gets a little bit of a lead, and then you throw right down there to first base and try to get him out. And it didn't work that time, but we have seen it work. It'll work 2 or 3 times a year, and you can steal yourself an out.
Here's a look at some of those. Cody Ross now.
Cody Ross nabbed again. Are we picking on him?
Why not? Especially after the way he hit the ball last week against the Reds. Back to the top, and Rafael Furcal, who had a walk and then came around to score in the 5th. (5-4), Dodgers by 1. Furcal shoots it into left field. Gomes will come up gunning. And overthrows home plate, allowing for Call to get to second, and for Gall almost with an idea to go to third. But an RBI by Rafael Furcal.
Second time tonight that Rafael Furcal has slashed the ball to left field off an offering from Aaron Harang and done damage to the Reds. He just stays inside the ball, just lets it really wait, and they're going to run all day on Johnny Gomes, even though because that runner hadn't even gotten to third base by the time Gomes gets that ball, not known for his defense nor his arm out there in left field, and the Dodgers now have stretched it to 2.
And LA has scored in 5 of the 6 innings of the game so far. Aaron Harang was backing up that play, and because of that, kept Furcal from taking a swipe toward third base. And Dusty Baker out of the dugout. This may signal the end of the night for Aaron Harang, because the Dodgers have increased their lead by 2 runs at 6-4 here at Great American Ballpark. The long, slow walk by the Reds manager. No. Well, looks like they are going to make the call. And Micah Owings is going to come from the bullpen. Our skyline call to the bullpen occurs with the Dodgers owning a 6-4 lead. $20,000 fans in attendance on Saturday will receive a baseball-shaped pot containing a sample of new Great American Ballpark grass, and that seed will help grow your own turf thanks to Scott's. Get your tickets now at 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com.
Well, Micah Owings in the ball game, 4th game for Micah, 2-0 record. He's one of those bullpen guys that has nailed down a couple of wins, and he's got a very good start to this 2010 season. He had 19 starts for the Reds last year. Overall pitched about 120 innings. Not so this year. He's in the pen.
Matt Kemp will be the first batter he faces. Rafael Furcal with an RBI double that has gotten this to where the Dodgers own a 2-run lead. Let's see Matt Kemp's night. Big 3-run homer in the 8th inning last night to tie the ball game at 9-9. Micah Owings hasn't pitched since the 15th in Florida. Was used a couple of times in Pittsburgh as a pinch hitter. Acquired from Arizona in the Adam Dunn trade, Micah Owings. Count 1-0 on Matt Kemp. It's a thrill by Joe Morgan being back around the organization.
Well, it really is. I mean, little by little, the Reds have been able to get back some of their great players that have had, real close connections to the community, and I don't think you can do any better than Joe Morgan. two-time MVP, star of the Big Red Machine in 75 and 76. Generally regarded as one of the best baseball broadcasters and analysts in history. And, to get him back and involved in the community the way he's going to be, and especially working within the African-American community, trying to get guys, young players to play baseball, I think it's a great thing.
And, we were both down at that press conference today. Joe got choked up and for a moment really couldn't speak. Just it means that much to him, and it's that important.
And in no way should anybody ever conceive the fact that Joe's got ulterior motives for coming back here. That he wants to get in. If he ever wanted to be a general manager, an owner, or a manager, he would have been that 10 times over by now somewhere else.
Count 2-2 to count. And stealing third for Call.
Half the Reds team was walking off the field after that pitch. Wondering if Adrian Johnson had a good look at it. Let's take our Fox Tracks look at this offering. Man, that's why you can't tell from watching the television screen whether it's a ball or a strike.
Or from in the stands.
Like right down the middle.
Ball 4. It's the 7th stolen base by the year on the season for Rafael Furcal. And walk is the 3rd given up by Reds pitchers tonight. Dusty Baker and pitching coach Brian Price presiding over the evening's event says Andre Ethier, 2 homers, or 2 hits, excuse me. One of them was a homer.
You're trying to get out of this jam right now. I mean, they've already stretched the lead to 2. Andre Ethier, number 3 hitter in their lineup. You got Manny Ramirez on deck. This is not an easy task right here for Micah Owings. Not only is it the 8th or 9th inning where you have the most crucial part of the ball game. Sometimes the most crucial part is in the middle of the game. And this is a huge inning right here for the Reds pitching and defense.
Try to keep it from getting away from him.
Yep.
Count 1-0. Owings against Ethier. Micah with the division of his time last year. 19 starts, 7 relief appearances. 6-11 on the season with an ERA of 5.74. 6-4 Dodgers with a lead. Phillips in. Oh, a flip to try and get the out that is unsuccessful, and another run comes in. Ruled a base hit.
It looked like Brandon had a chance and got to the ball in time. The dribbler going over the mound right here. Boy, that grass really slows the ball down here. He flips it behind his back, hoping that Cabrera can reach out in time. It's just not close enough for Cabrera to grab. Nice idea by Brandon Phillips right there, and just unable to get the job done.
So the Dodgers doing a lot of business here with 2 outs and leading 7-4. And a guy that can compound the problems steps in at the plate, Manny Ramirez. 3rd base hit of the night for Andre Ethier. Ramirez looks at a strike. Last night on a couple of occasions we got a video glimpse of Manny with a pinch hit home run, a grand slam against the Reds last year. You see that RBI in the 5th was a landmark RBI. RBI base hit in the 1st, a single in the 3rd, and then an RBI single in the 5th. And a batting average that continues to balloon. Joe Morgan talking about it during Manny's last at-bat. You talked last night, Chris, about it, how he is able to adjust within an at-bat to what he's seeing. Two and 1, 2 out, 2 on. Micah Owings in relief of Aaron Harang. Called strike. Big challenge for Micah Owens.
Well, you like to get him on this pitch. Always try to get a decision on a 2-2 count, especially with a couple of runners on base with 2 outs. 3-2, they'll be running.
So it will now be 3-2.
That's 2 pitches in this inning that Micah Owens thought he had strikeouts. He thought he had Matt Kemp struck out. We showed you on the Fox tracks, though, that the pitch was actually outside, and he thought that pitch was a strike. From the dugout, I guarantee it looked like a strike.
So Micah Owens trying to bear down. Count full, 2 on, 2 out. Ball 4 to Loma. Second walk of the inning issued by Reds pitchers. The 4th of the game.
Well, they have the left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera warming up in the bullpen. I think that's what Dusty figures, that he's going to have to bring the left-hander in right now to see if he can't get out of the inning.
7-4.
Not want to go to it with Ethier because you had Manny on deck, but he will definitely go to Daniel Ray Herrera with the bases loaded.
7-4. Dodgers with the lead. Where Brad Keselowski will try to defend his title and take home the checkered flag for the 2nd straight year. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing from Talladega Superspeedway begins Sunday at noon in high definition on Fox.
Well, the left-hander Daniel Ray Herrera will come in, and not an easy situation for the left-handed Texan as he comes in with the bases loaded, a couple of outs, and James Loney, a left-handed hitting first baseman, coming to the plate. Good year so far from Herrera, but what else is new?
Loney hitless on the night. 7-4 Dodgers with a lead. They have scored twice here in the top of the 6th inning. Herrera trying to stop the bleeding as he's followed Harang and Owens. Get a chance to see what he's done against lefties.
Yeah, the lefty-righty split, very interesting, and this is really what you're interested in if you're a manager. You're thinking, all right, versus lefties versus righties. Yep, I've got a real good chance right here of getting this left-hander out.
Pays for the look at it. Loney bounced into a double play in the 3rd, grounded to short in the 1st, and a fly ball to Rowland in the 5th inning.
He's really the only guy in this lineup that has not done anything on the base paths tonight.
1-1. Took a little something off that.
Went from 69 miles an hour to 64 miles an hour.
A little something.
How do you hold back and not swing at that? The Chief, what his nickname is around the Reds clubhouse.
Really?
He's got it right there in his glove.
The Chief. That's what they used to call Geronimo. when he was playing here in the 70s. Herrera 2/3 of an inning last night against the Dodgers and zeros across the line. Has not allowed a run in his last 5 appearances, which is 2 2/3 inning all total. Strike that Loney stares at. On deck, Casey Blake. So the count 3-2. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Dodgers benefiting with a 7-4 lead right now over the Reds. And Herrera trying to get out of the inning. Grounder through the infield on the right side. Jay Bruce will come up throwing to third base. Ramirez in safely, but 2 more come across the dish for the Dodgers.
Well, that's the danger of going full count, have the runners running on the pitch, and Daniel Ray Herrera's got to come in with a strike. You don't want to walk a run in. He comes in there with a pitch that's up and out over the plate, and James Loney's able to tap that ball into right field. Seems like everything the Dodgers have hit on the ground in this inning have found a hole. And they are pouring it on right now. 12 hits and 9 runs.
The inning will continue for Casey Blake. And much like Loney, Blake comes to the plate looking for his first base hit of the night. 3 base hits and a couple of walks. 4 base hits, excuse me, here in the inning, and a couple of walks that have aided the cause for the Dodgers. There's an infield base hit by Russell Martin following the first out that started the wheels in motion for Joe Torre's team. Blake flips it a strike. A couple of ground balls to short and 1 to second for the Dodger third baseman. The 9th LA player to bat in this inning. Held. So as we talked about a little while ago, this is more than a 1-batter situation for the lefty.
Well, you get to a point where you've got to have one of your pitchers go more than just a batter or 2, or else you're going to wear your bullpen out in a real short period of time. Dusty Baker realizes that. I mean, you're down by 5 runs right now. Unless you can stop the bleeding and your team can get back into it, you need to leave somebody out there and have them just, take it for the team. And there's no reason to believe why Daniel Ray Herrera can't get right-handers out.
Called strike inside corner to end the inning for the Dodgers. A 4-run 6th to take a 9-4 lead. Cam. Aaron Harang with the ball hit to right field. Initially ruled a catch by Andre Ethier. The umpires got together and discussed it, and then changed the call, ruling it a base hit and an RBI by Aaron Harang. That was our Coors Light Freeze Can, brought to you by Frost Brew. Coors Light. Of course, the Dodgers had gone to the dugout to get ready to hit. The Reds had yet to go out to the field, but everybody came right back out, and then the inning ended on a strikeout by Chris Dickerson. But the Dodgers do damage in the top of the 4th inning. Jay Bruce lays down a bunt to lead off the inning, and it is executed to perfection.
Well, Drew Stubbs take note. Chris Dickerson take note. Watch the grass just grab this ball and stop. It's like Velcro out there, the way that it is so thick this year. Doug Gallen's got that grass looking as good as it will ever look. And that's a perfect bunt by Jay Bruce. And when you're 5 runs down, you need base runners. And I love that play.
So Jay Bruce with his first base hit of the night. He reached base thanks to an error in the 4th. So Johnny Gomes climbs to the dish, looking for his first base hit of the night. Pop fly, right field with some carry, but backing is Ethier, and he has it at the track. First out of the inning. Talking about all that bunting. That was one of the things I used to love watching Norris Hopper, with the way he could get out there during some of his time here in bunt.
Yeah, that was his best offensive weapon, actually, and he was able to almost do that, tell you that he was going to do it, and still lay it down and get it done. But a good, smart baseball play by Jay Bruce. You look up, you see where the third baseman's playing, and sometimes you really can't see exactly where the third baseman's playing, so he'll look down to the third base coach, and the third base coach will kind of give a sign. He's playing even with the bag, he's 2 steps in front, so he's taking the bunt away from you, or he'll give you a sign that he's way back and it's wide open territory to lay one down.
Ramon Hernandez, a strikeout victim and the recipient of a walk. Jay Bruce with his lead at first base. Guy that's swiped a couple of bags on the year.
Oh, you're really not in a position here to even think about a stolen base, not 5 runs down. What you're thinking about is getting a few more base runners and then trying to etch away at the lead, hope your bullpen holds it right where it is. You don't need all 5 runs back in this inning, but if you can get a couple here and a couple next inning, you're certainly right back in the ball game.
Lance Nix in the on-deck circle, guy that hasn't played since last Wednesday because of illness. 1-2 to the Reds catcher. Los Angeles is getting George Sherrill busy in their bullpen. Kuroda has been the benefactor of this Los Angeles 9-run, 12-hit offense. Part of the season from Baltimore. The visiting team with the lead. Count 1-2 on Hernandez. Count 2-2. Hernandez searching for his first home run of 2010. Take a look. We were talking about bunting and Jay Bruce reaching with a bunt. Here is the aforementioned Norris Hopper.
The push bunt. Worked about 70% of the time for him.
Foul for Hernandez, and when you have the kind of speed he had, that doesn't hurt. George Norris was then traded away to the White Sox. Jay Bruce with a bunt single to lead off the inning. Gomes with a fly ball to right. And now Hernandez with a count 2-2. Mike Be the last batter Kuroda sees. Pop fly. Blake DeWitt. 2 out.
There are two traditions Cincinnati fans have grown to love for generations: Reds baseball and JTM beef hoagies. Grab a bag today and taste the tradition. JTM, food, family, fun.
Used to love those little pork chopettes that JTM cranks out.
Used to.
Well, haven't had one in a while.
Maybe we'll get Michael Pickett when he comes on May the 4th to bring some of those.
There's a look at Kuroda with 100 pitches. Miguel Cairo now will be the pinch hitter for the Reds. May 4th. You're going to have Tom up here with you.
I think you're right. He politicked real hard to make sure that he was on the air that night.
Well, doggy bag request. So Miguel Cairo will come in. He started a couple of the games over the weekend in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. Get a look at what he has done pinch hitting this season. Started at first base on Friday night. Started at third base. 2 outs. The Reds in need of runners and some offense. Trailing 9-4. Tom politicked hard for that, huh?
Big time. In fact, he was on the verge of tears. And my first suggested dates were when you were on the air with me.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Coach Tom's down in the radio booth tonight with his dad.
I just hate to see a grown man cry. Unless his dad makes him do it. And he does in that radio booth from time to time.
1-1 to count to the pinch hitter, Cairo. For a call. Will field. No, he won't field it. Gets through it. Bruce moves on to third base. E6 as Miguel Cairo will reach base.
Embarrassing. Maybe took his eye off it, but one thing for certain, Bootzilla is alive and well here at Great American Ballpark. Right through the wickets. He just doesn't get his glove down. He never got it dirty until the ball actually went through the legs. Boy, oh boy, opportunity is just knocking on the door of the Reds. If they can make a chance and score a few more runs right here, can spoil the Dodgers' party.
And Joe Torre to the mound. Call to the bullpen occurring as the Dodgers have a 9-4 lead, but the Reds with a threat cooking. We'll be right back.
Last year for the Baltimore Orioles. You see them this year, higher earned run average. Forget those numbers right there. 7 games, it doesn't mean a thing. What you're worried about if you're Dusty Baker and a manager is what he does lefty versus righty. And last year, George Sherrill had to be one of the best pitchers in baseball against left-handed hitting.
Well, Drew Stubbs will now come out to pinch hit for Chris Dickerson here in the 6th inning. Sherrill acquired right before the trading deadline by the Dodgers for Josh Bell and Steve Johnson. So with 2 out, Drew Stubbs out to see if he can't change his fortunes and give the Reds some help here.
Well, let me tell you what the numbers are for George Sherrill. Against left-handers in 2009, he held lefties to a 128 batting average. So that's why Drew Stubbs is in there right now instead of Chris Dickerson.
Gotcha.
More about the pitcher than it is about the hitter.
Okay. Stubbs looks at a strike. In the longest slump of his young career, hitless in his last 18 bats. Jay Bruce, Miguel Cairo. And that's a called strike. Stubbs is 1-1 for 1 against George Sherrill. And finds himself in a 2-strike hole. 2-2. Stubbs did manage to score a run last night in his 5 at-bats. Good eye by Drew Stubbs. Reached on an error by the pitcher last night to get on base in the 4th inning.
Well, again, this works in the Reds' advantage right now. 3-2 count. So Cairo at first base, who got on by the error, is going to be off with the pitch. A long single by Stubbs could score 2.
Down the line at third, but foul. And that error had everybody just about ready to go to respective dugouts when Rafael Furcal let one just skid right under his glove.
Oh, they open the door for you and they give you an extra out in the inning. That's the good teams take advantage of it.
Bruce at third, Cairo at first. Ball 4, loading him up. Walk number 3 given up by Los Angeles pitching tonight. To Orlando Cabrera.
Now, if you're Orlando Cabrera, you got to be thinking about a first pitch fastball right down Broadway. And he's up there to drive him in, not walk him in. So this is the chance for you to be very aggressive. Sherrill struggled so far. He struggled with throwing ball over the plate. He wants to get ahead right here with the bases loaded.
Cabrera did get a walk in the first inning and managed to score as a result of it. Looks at a strike. Part of the 3-run first inning for the Reds. He scored on the home run that was bashed by Joey Votto, which not too long after that was followed by a Scott Rowland solo homer.
Now you take that first pitch fastball, then you end up starting to hit and face the pitcher's pitches, like that slider that almost hit him in the back foot.
Swinging like he wanted to hit that ball to Clifton. Foul. Joey Votto on deck. .7:10 first pitch tomorrow here at Great American Ballpark. Mike Leake searching for his first win. Vicente Padilla. 1-1 the Dodgers started. But Mike Leake overall has looked impressive in his 2 previous outings. 0-2 to Cabrera with 2 out and the bases full of Redlegs. Jeff Weaver busy in the Dodger building. To the Red shortstop with 2 down. Dodgers with a 9-4 lead. Mike Leake will get that start tomorrow after having gone 7 innings, giving up 7 hits and 3 runs in Pittsburgh. Walked 5 but struck out 3. Another foul by Cabrera. His first effort was 6 2/3 innings against the Cubs, where he allowed 4 hits, 1 run, walked 7, and struck out 5. Well, here's a big moment for Orlando Cabrera. Count 1-2. With 2 out. George Sherrill. Down the line. Foul.
Well, ever since the first offering that Sherrill threw Orlando Cabrera, he's kept that breaking ball on him nearly every pitch. And that's a tough pitch to keep fair because it's breaking right in on you. It has a nice downward break as well, and your natural trajectory is to hit that ball, pull a foul down the left field line.
He is working the whole field. George Sherrill on in relief of Hiroki Kuroda. The Reds will be trying a new pitcher out there when we go to the next half inning. As Miguel Cairo will pinch hit for the spot that Daniel Ray Herrera was in. Cabrera in the hole. That'll get 1 in, maybe 2. On the move is Cairo. Throw at the plate. Cairo slides in safely. 2 RBIs for Miguel for Orlando Cabrera.
Well, perseverance pays off. Boy, did he spoil pitch after pitch after pitch. He got down no balls and 2 strikes, and he had to spoil about 5 or 6 pitches before he finally got one up. Finds a hole on the left side of the infield. They got the third baseman a little snug towards third. Opens up that 5.5 hole, and they'll run on Manny all day long. And that base hit by Orlando Cabrera scores a couple as Miguel Cairo sneaks in ahead of the throw, and it is a 9-6 ball game.
Joey Votto. With Cabrera and Stubbs still out on the base paths. Sherrill deals him a strike. So Bruce and Cairo score on the base hit by Orlando Cabrera. The 8th of the night for the Reds. Bottle to center. But Matt Kemp gathers it. 9-6. Reds on the short end of the Dodgers, but Cincinnati puts a couple more on the board. Rethink possible. By your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. By Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. Reds put 2 on the board, but still trail 9-6 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Top of the 7th inning. Drew Stubbs will remain in the game, playing center field after pinch hitting for Chris Dickerson. And a new reliever out of the bullpen.
Well, Logan Ondrusek looked like when he was warming up to come into this ball game, it would be pretty much of a mop-up situation, but not so. Now just a 3-run lead for the Dodgers, and the Reds desperately needed a 0 thrown up there by Ondrusek.
Blake DeWitt, the second baseman, is the first batter that Ondrusek will face. Pop fly. Stubbs comes in. 1 out. Visit the official online shop of the Cincinnati Reds at Reds.com. Browse the largest selection of official gear, including the latest apparel, memorabilia, and authentic classics for the whole family. Get your gear straight from the source. Shop the Reds.com official store. Blake DeWitt, the first out. Russell Martin, the catcher, will come up. An infield base hit was really the first hit that started that rally for the Dodgers of 4 runs in the 6th inning. Also with a base hit in the 2nd. Looks at a strike. Only 1 inning tonight the Dodgers have not scored, and that was in the 4th. Martin, a native Canadian, facing the Texan Ondrusek. Cabrera, gloves, fires, got it. 2 innings.
Well, a couple of happenings in the minor league department for the Reds today. One pitcher who was up with the major league team last year, Pedro Viola, who was put on waivers or designated for assignment, that is, when Mike Leake was promoted to the major league team back on April the 11th, was picked up off of waivers by the Baltimore Orioles. So he was no longer a Red, the left-hander Viola.
Jamie Carroll, the pinch hitter for the Dodgers, with 2 out.
Also read today the Orioles have been busy. They also signed former Red Corey Patterson to a minor league contract.
Had he not been with the Orioles previously?
I believe he has.
During his many stops. Jamie Carroll, a veteran who's had a few different addresses during his career. The pinch hitter. He was part of that Rocktober for the Colorado Rockies a few years ago when they went on a crazy run and got to the World Series. Offers, but holds up Jamie Carroll. .278 batting average in 9 games with the Dodgers. Trucks on down to first after getting a walk. The 5th walk issued by Reds pitching tonight. So right back to the top of the order, and Rafael Furcal. Furcal, an RBI double the last time he was up there in that big bonanza 6th inning. The 2nd double.
We were negligent last night to pass on some birthday wishes to some big-time Reds fans, and one of them being Ben Hunterman. Congratulations on turning 21 yesterday. How do you feel today? Pitcher over at Mount St. Joe, and the son of our esteemed part-time producer, Brian Hunterman, does a great job here. Has worked for the Reds for a long time, and now Fox Sports Net. We extend our hearty congratulations to Brian and Paula and Ben.
So you feel like number 21 was being celebrated?
Well, I guess so. You know, I'm sorry we didn't get to it last night. I do want to wish Nancy Shoemaker, young lady who was able to come up and visit us in the booth earlier this afternoon, her birthday today as well.
She and her sister up here gracing us with their presence earlier. Of course, when we were growing up, it was the 18th birthday that you marked as the landmark celebratory.
You got to celebrate 18 and 21.
You mean it wasn't old hat by the time you hit 21?
Still isn't.
Advancement by the runner, Jamie Carroll.
Well, little things like that, you know, they just make such a big difference. There was a situation earlier in this ball game where a pass ball ended up happening, and Russell Martin ended up scoring a run, which turned out to be an unearned run because of the pass ball. And, you know, when you're catching Logan Ondrusek, you really have to be aware that he's pitching downhill. I've said it before. It's like he's throwing a ball out of a 3-story building. It's coming down in that downward plane. His off-speed pitch is primarily either a curveball or that split finger pitch. The split finger pitch is aimed at the knee level and really designed to bounce down around the plate. So you really got to be ready for it. There it is right there.
Ondrusek, a third of an inning last night against the Dodgers, coming out of the bullpen. For call down the first base line. That's going to bring another run in as Carroll hits third and scores. For call motoring to second. He's going to take a look and go for third as Bruce digs it out of the corner. And an RBI triple by Rafael for call.
This guy absolutely kills the Reds. It doesn't matter what uniform he's in, where he's playing, home, away, it doesn't matter. He's been on base every time but his first at bat. And his first at bat knocked Brandon Phillips down with a line drive. Every other time he's been at the plate, he's been on base. This is his third hit of the night, his second extra base hit. He is one home run away from the cycle, if you're the kind of person that charts those things.
Wouldn't dare. 10-6 is the Dodger lead now. Matt Kemp puts this one deep into right field. See ya later. 2-run homer, Matt Kemp, and the second straight night that he has powered one into the seats. His 7th homer of the year.
I mean, this is where really young pitching, it's tough to learn at the major league level, but I get the feeling that Logan Ondrusek is learning, you know, by trial by fire. I mean, here you are, you've got the bottom part of the order, you retire the 7-hitter, you retire the 8-hitter, and then you walk a pinch hitter, number 9, to turn the lineup over to Furcal, and then Matt Kemp, one of the fiercest and most talented hitters in the National League. And for the second night in a row, he goes opposite for a home run.
The second home run the Dodgers have had tonight. 12-6 Los Angeles.
I mean, I can see walking Manny Ramirez to get to the next guy, but you don't walk Jamie Carroll so that you can turn the Dodger lineup over. That just doesn't make any sense.
And the guy who hit the first homer of the night, Andre Ethier, bounces out to first with the damage done as the Dodgers score 3 here in the 7th to take a 12-6 lead. brought to you by the Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Well, the visitor from Ireland having a good time out in the stands. Along with young Miss Welsh.
Well, shortly after they were up in the booth, my daughter and Lorraine McLaughlin from Ireland texted me and said, is there a way we can get a video of the game? And I'm going to make sure after we see them dance that they'll definitely get a video of that.
Just a reminder. Brandon Phillips to lead off the bottom of the 7th for the Reds against a new Dodger pitcher, Donald Belisario. Jamie Carroll, who pinch hit, remains in the game at second base, so Blake DeWitt is the odd man out. 12-6, Los Angeles with a lead. Brandon Phillips trying to go the opposite way. Ethier has it, 1 out. Brandon Phillips with 1 hit to his credit for the course of the night. Joe Torre working his bullpen.
Well, this is the first appearance of the year for Belisario, just activated. He was the young man, I believe, who had visa problems, if I'm not mistaken, coming over from the Dominican Republic, and he got a slow start on things. They ended up putting him on the restricted list and got him back into shape, and have just now been able to activate him.
Ronald Belisario working on Scott Rowland. Rowland with a couple of base hits tonight. One of them left the yard for his 4th homer of the season.
And they have missed him, too, because he was a workhorse for the Dodgers last year. 69 games with an earned run average right around 2. Struck out just about a batter an inning. Very fine late inning setup man.
Belisario was signed originally in 1999 as a free agent by Florida. Then in 2006 signed by Pittsburgh. Count 2-1 to the Reds' third baseman. From Maracay, Venezuela. Count 2-2 to Scott Rowland for call. Rowland retired. Jay Bruce, who in the 6th started the inning with a bunt single. He's been on base twice tonight, once because of that, and then thanks to an error. Came around to score on the RBI by Orlando Cabrera. So Belisario following Sherrill and Kuroda. 12-6 Dodgers. Chopped right in front of the mound. Belisario underhands to first to retire Bruce. 12-6 Dodgers will lead. as we roll along to the top of the 8th inning. Time now for the Granger Player Spotlight for the one who gets things done. And one of the ones would be Manny Ramirez tonight. Couple of base hits, 3 base hits, couple of RBIs. And he'll be the leadoff hitter here in the top of the 8th inning for the Dodgers. Logan Andrusik back on the mound for the Reds. Paul Janisch has come into the game, replacing Scott Rowland at third base. Paul Janisch with the base hit that brought in the go-ahead run for the Reds last night. And they got caught in a rundown that allowed another run to come in. Ramirez, a single and an RBI in the first, a single in the third, a single and an RBI in the fifth, and a walk in the sixth. Six Dodgers will lead, trying to square the series. There's the Reds. We've talked about how their victories in the year have come in their last at-bats. Well, they're going to need a big-time display of that if they hope to change this outcome here. Ramirez looks at the strike. The Dodgers have scored in every inning except the fourth. The 7th was their biggest output, 3 runs. Joey Votto feeds it to Andrusik. Ramirez retired for the first time tonight. So James Loney, who got his first base hit of the night, an RBI single in the 6th, will come to the dish. This series wraps up tomorrow evening with a 7:10 start, and the Dodgers do make another trip back into Cincinnati. They will return to Great American Ballpark. In June. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Joe Torre had a chance today to get to Louisville, where he's part owner of a horse down there. Loney cracks this one into right field, and the hit parade continuing for Los Angeles as Loney will hit second base with a double. Take your family out for some fun this Sunday on Meijer Family Day. When one family member purchases a full-price ticket, the entire family gets non-premium tickets at half price. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or go to reds.com/family. Offer valid in advance of game day only. Casey Blake, the batter. We saw that look at Joe Torre. Not only being able to take care of the business with a horse that he attended to. Joe's wife Allie is a Cincinnatian, so some family that can be dealt with here.
Well, they'll be all in town next time. Joe told me before the game yesterday that Allie was not here on this trip, so his obligations were much reduced as what they would normally be.
I believe some of her family is here.
Oh yeah, they're still here. As long as you take care of the in-laws, you're all right.
Casey Blake looked at a called third strike in the 6th inning. Twice grounded out to short and once to second. Loney hanging out at second base after a double. Beavis is where Allie is from. It's one of Joe's brother-in-laws, is a guy that I know. Bad apple he is. He's been a bad influence on a number of us for a while.
It shows in you.
It's my fault somehow, huh? Blake with a base hit into center. Loney comes around. Throw is cut off. The Dodgers put one more up.
Casey Blake finally decided he was not going to be left out of this Dodger party of scoring a lot of runs. He came into that at bat 0 for 4 with a strikeout. 3 easy ground balls previous to that base hit that placed the 12th run of the night. 13th run of the night, that is.
So Garrett Anderson will now come and pinch hit for the pitcher, Belisario. Anderson with a pinch hit appearance last night. You see what he has done here in the young season. Veteran of the Angels and the Braves, Garrett Anderson. Logan Andrusic. The Dodgers not only those 13 runs, but 16 hits. And already in not quite 2 complete games, this series has seen a lot of runs posted between the 2 teams. Here we go. Thought that one was coming up that way. 39 total runs.
Well, Garrett Anderson, if you're scouting a hitter and you want to know what he's looking for, he's looking for something that he can pull. All you have to do is concentrate on his right leg, where he sets up and then where he steps. That baby is going dead this way. Looking for a slider down and in, maybe a cutter down and in, and a catcher ought to know that. A pitcher ought to be able to pick that up. And certainly if you're sitting on the bench paying attention to the ball game, you'll look for that in case you have to face him in a more crucial situation.
Anderson continues to foul to keep things alive. 3-time All-Star. During one of those trips, a winner of the Home Run Derby. Winner twice of the Silver Slugger Award. Key cog in that Angels team in 2002 that won the World Series. He pulled that baby.
Well, you're feeding right into his wheelhouse when you try to get him inside right there. I mean, you're throwing the ball where he just left. So if Andrusic can come up with a pitch that can kind of fade down and away from Anderson right here, he might be in a lot better shape. That's where they tried it. I think the previous pitch was designed to come in off the plate, do exactly what Anderson did, which is pull the pitch foul. Get him looking in, then you go back away.
Casey Blake out at first base. Backing is Jay Bruce. Just short of the track, hauls it up. Here's a look how everybody has gotten into the party in a Dodger uniform.
It gives me a headache.
Ditto. That's a lot of offense spread out amongst the lineup. Russell Martin.
That fits there for a 3-game series.
Yeah. Martin with a couple of base hits. 2 outs with Los Angeles owning a 13-6 lead. The Reds have managed 8 hits, excuse me, on their 6 runs. Each team has stranded half a dozen runners. Logan Andrusic gets a strike call. We move to the bottom of the 8th. The Reds will have Johnny Gomes, Ramon Hernandez to lead off the inning in the number 9 spot, which will be the pitcher spot. Paul Yanish, who came in, has moved to the number 5 spot, replacing Scott Rowland. Swing and a miss to end the inning. But the Dodgers get another run and have a 13-6 lead over the Reds. Los Angeles right fielder Andre Ethier. It's a close play at third as Joey Votto was trying to get an extra bag. That gets cut down. Our John Morrell, a hot dog play of the game. The Dodgers with a 13-6 lead over the Reds as we move to the bottom of the 8th inning. Reed Johnson has come into the game for Los Angeles and is playing in left field. Jeff Weaver is on the mound for Los Angeles. Johnny Gomes to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning. Here's a look at the well-traveled veteran, Jeff Weaver. Gomes bangs that one to DeWitt at second. Or excuse me, it's Jamie Carroll who's at second. 1 out. So Gomes wearing the collar right now with no base hits. Hernandez at the plate. Jeff Weaver, whose last victory came here in Cincinnati on August 29th. It's the 9th game of the year he's appeared in, and now the trainers come out to take a look at him. Take a look maybe at what happened after that last pitch as Joe Torre has come out there.
Now, usually when that happens, that's a back strain right there. You see him trying to get us all straightened up and back into nice alignment.
And he's going to come out of the game.
He's going to walk out of the ball game.
So Joe Torre is going to have to get somebody else out of the bullpen. So we'll pause with the Dodgers owning a 13-6 lead over the Reds here in the bottom of the 8th inning. For just $40, you'll receive vouchers for 4 free 6-inch everyday value Subway subs. Get your 4 for $40 deal now at 381 Reds or visit Reds.com.
Now, this series is really a scout's dream. If you're looking at both of these ball clubs and you want to see every player, every pitcher from the bullpen emptied out and see what he's got, you're getting a chance to look at it. We're going to get a chance to look at a new one right here in Carlos Monasterios, a young right-hander that was originally signed out of Venezuela by the New York Yankees. He was then dealt from the Yankees to the Phillies, the Phillies to the Mets, who picked him up from the Phillies system as out of the Rule 5 draft last year. And the Mets sent him along to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he was so impressive in spring training that he made the ball club, having never pitched above A ball, at least before what I can determine. So he'll get a chance here to protect a 7-run lead in relief of Jeff Weaver here in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Weaver goes out after facing one batter, got Johnny Gomes to ground out to second base. Yeah, a lot of players don't need those 20-inning games to get some of these looks. Ramon Hernandez struck out, walked, and hit a fly ball that was caught by the third baseman. Monasterio gets a swinging strike, and that one caught Russell Martin. You know, looking at Martin doing that, and Hernandez. We mentioned earlier about Brad Ausmus, the veteran backup catcher. Within the past week was put on the DL. Brad Ausmus going into the season was one of 3 players in the major leagues who had 10 years or more of service and had never been on the disabled list.
Had back surgery.
Some speculation that he might decide to hang it up. Well, he had his best years with the Astros. Spent some time in Detroit with the Tigers. Count 1-1 on Ramon Hernandez. One of 4 major leaguers with over 10 years who'd never been on the DL. Derek Lowe, Javier Vasquez, and Randy Wynn, the others.
How about that? Two of those 3 pitchers. Very unusual to see that.
And then Randy Wynn, a guy who for most of his career has been an everyday player. From Tampa Bay to Seattle to San Francisco, and now with the Yankees. 13-6 Dodgers with a lead. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Hernandez, base hit. He gets his first knock of the night. Ramon Hernandez. And Lance Nix will be due up to pinch hit. Been a while since Lance has played. Had been dealing with some of the apparent flu bug that was going around. Nix has not played since last Wednesday in Florida. Comes in with a .222 batting average, and for the second consecutive year made the team coming out of spring training as a non-roster player. Count 1-1 on Lance Nix, who's pinch hitting for Andrusic. Loney for call. Back, and they pull that double play off the hard way as Loney almost collided with his pitcher. 13-6. Dodgers with a lead. Go to the Wayback Machine. Joe Morgan, who spent some time with us earlier tonight. That is Game 5 of the 1972 World Series at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. And on a pop fly ball in foul territory, Joe Morgan throws out pinch runner Blue Moon Odom. Home Depot doing more on defense play. Oakland, at that point, was poised to try and end the World Series right there. But Joe Morgan, a play that he's waxed nostalgically on, talking about how it's one of his favorites. The Reds got that win to bring the series back to Cincinnati. Oakland at that point had a 3-2 lead. The Reds came back won Game 6 as Johnny Bench homered in the only game of the series, Game 6 at Riverfront, that was not a 1-run game. And then Oakland won it in the 7th game. Mike Lincoln on the mound for the Reds, who trailed the Dodgers 13-6. And of course, Blue Moon Odom, as those who remember, he was a pitcher, but Dick Williams had used him as a pinch runner in that game. That was also the season in World Series in which Dick Williams, and probably more under the work of Charlie Finley, they had used some of those guys. They had recruited, remember Herb Washington, a track star? They brought him in just to pinch run.
I sure do.
Just to pinch run. Looking at the final pitching and batting, you know, he had no at-bats, so Herb Washington doesn't show up on the stats. That was also the World Series that Reggie Jackson missed for Oakland. He broke his leg in a play at home plate in the American League Championship Series against Detroit. Swing and a miss by Jamie Carroll. First
they didn't need him. They had Gene Tennis go off in that series.
Yes, he did. Hit home runs in his first 2 at-bats. Gene Tennis. George Hendrick ended up being the center fielder that built up a bulk at the time. Matty Alou was still playing there. For call will come up. Thanks to the folks involved in our broadcast tonight. Christian Roberts, our producer. Our director, Brian Hunterman. Associate producers, Lauren White, Matt Sigafus. Kent Dreamweaver, our pregame producer. Doug Johnson, the coordinating producer. And our executive producer, Tom Farmer. 13-6. The Dodgers with a lead over the Reds. For a call. Ground ball to Phillips. Sogallo. 2 out. That was the first of 3 consecutive World Series that Oakland won. They came back in 1973 and beat the New York Mets. More people probably remember that for the series in which Willie Mays and Rusty Staub were clunking around in the outfield. And then in 74 beat the Dodgers. Matt Kemp, who went deep last time out, driving in 2 runs. Were you saying that you were at the second game of that World Series, the one where Joe Rudy made a catch?
Joe Rudy catch,
yes.
Yeah.
Was that game as well? They got him. So says Andy Fletcher. So Matt Kemp will go down to first.
Well, you can see the run on Mike Lincoln's fastball. He's got a 2-seam fastball, holds it in a rather unusual fashion with no fingers on any of the seams. It's kind of like a dry spitter. That ball just flashed right out of his fingertips and had a life of its own.
You remember who Oakland's regular catcher was to start that World Series that Gene Tennis took the place of at the beginning of the series? Dave Duncan.
Yeah.
And then a little later on in the series, they started Duncan, I believe, was in the last 2 games in Cincinnati to cut down on Joe Morgan trying to steal bases. Andre Ethier with a home run as part of a 3-base hit night. Of course, another of the crazy connections between the Reds and Oakland a few years after that, the trade for Vida Blue that baseball later negated. And there were, the media guides had been printed And if you found a media guide, I don't remember exactly what year it was, Vida Blue was in it. That would have been a pitching staff that had Tom Seaver and Vida Blue on it. And so Charlie Finley was basically fire sailing, getting rid of a lot of his high-priced people.
Yeah.
The Sal Bando he tried to trade away, Joe Rudy. But Tom Seaver and Vida Blue on the same pitching staff, that would have been something to see. Charlie Finley tended to upset the apple cart with some of the things he did in baseball. Tried to get Bowie Kuhn to use orange baseballs at one point in time.
Actually, may have been just ahead of his time.
You know what? He may have been. You're right. That franchisee moved him from Kansas City, and they had all kind of crazy contraptions at Old Municipal Park in Kansas City where they played. They had the mechanical bunny rabbit that popped up out of the ground. They hand the balls to the umpire.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he also try to get Vida Blue to change his name to True?
Forgot about that. Yes, he did. He had sheep grazing out there in Wakefield in Kansas City. Kemp will go down to second on the walk that's issued to Ethier. True.
Well, there's no secret about the fact that Mike Lincoln is working through some injuries still. You know, he had neck surgery last year where they replaced a cervical disc, and he says he's still not 100%. Does not have the velocity that he had last year or in years past, where he used to get the ball up there 91, 92, 93 miles an hour. But still, as long as he has that very good curveball, he can be an effective pitcher.
And with 2 out and 2 on, Reed Johnson will get his first crack at it tonight. And bangs a base hit up the middle. Another run will come in for the Dodgers. Reed Johnson with the RBI, scoring Matt Kemp. Tack one more on for LA. Everybody continuing to get in it. Johnson was batting at the spot that had been Manny Ramirez. So that spot in the order is driven in 3 tonight.
4 hits and a walk in that spot in the order.
Exactly what you want out of the number 4 spot, production. James Loney. He's been a big contributor as well. 14-6 Dodgers, top of the 9th. Loney with a couple of base hits and a couple of runs driven in. The series finale is tomorrow night, 7:10 first pitch here at Great American Ballpark. Mike Leake and Vicente Padilla, the scheduled starting pitchers.
Well, they're asking Mike Leake, the youngster making only his 3rd major league start, professional start, to be a stopper again.
Cabrera behind the bag. Flips to Phillips. Not in enough time.
Well, Brandon Phillips makes a marvelous play just to get to this ball, which goes right back over the mound. Or make it Orlando Cabrera, who flips it backhanded, not even looking. And the stretch by Brandon Phillips, who barehands the ball, the feed from Cabrera, nearly gets him.
So the bases remain loaded for the Dodgers.
Boy, what a great effort, though. I mean, you're down by 8 runs in the 9th inning. You're still giving that kind of an effort defensively. You like that?
Casey Blake.
Mike Lincoln's got to be wondering what the heck happened to him. Retired the first 2 hitters, no problem. Strike out, easy ground ball. Next thing you know, he's given up a run. He's got bases loaded.
Dodgers have shown a penchant here to do some two-out business tonight. Blake in the 8th, an RBI base hit. His only knock of the evening. 14-6 LA. Looks at a strike. Dodgers after tomorrow will move on to D.C. to meet the Nationals and then take on New York. The Mets in New York at Citi Field in its second year of existence. So a long road trip for Joe Torre's Dodgers. Cabrera to Phillips. They get the force this time. We move to the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Reds in a 14-6 hole. Visit your local Cincinnati John Deere dealer this deer season for great savings. By the Ohio Department of Public Safety, reminding motorcyclists to ride smart. And by the Basement Guys, enter to win the free basement giveaway from the Basement Guys. To enter, go to thebasementguys.com. The late night food stop up in the Gaslight District of Clifton. 14-6 Dodgers will the lead over the Reds as we roll into the bottom of the 9th inning. Skyline, one of our sponsors. Always a popular stop up there around the campus area in the late evening hours. 14-6 Dodgers ahead. Reds come calling here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Drew Stubbs will lead off, followed by Orlando Cabrera and Joey Votto. Stubbs with a base hit in the 6th. He surfaced as a pinch hitter, replacing Chris Dickerson once George Sherrill was called upon. Out of the Dodger bullpen. Carlos Monasterios remains on the mound for Joe Torre's ball club. Earlier we mentioned that the Dodgers will come back here to Cincinnati later in the year. The Reds will be in Los Angeles just one time this season. Part of a 9-game, 3-city Western road trip that starts August 17th in Arizona, then moves August 20th, 21st, and 22nd in Los Angeles. It concludes August 23rd, 24th, 25th in San Francisco. That will be a long time away from home. Drew Stubbs looking to try and get some things smoothed out here. He did get on thanks to that walk earlier tonight. However, he comes into the game still hitless. Now in his last, well, I guess it's still 18 at-bats with a walk not being an official at-bat.
Well, when you've gone that long without a base hit, and you look up at the scoreboard and you see your batting average in 4-foot letters, and it begins with 1 at this point in the year, a walk is kind of a moral victory for you. I mean, it came in a pretty good spot, too. It loaded the bases.
Absolutely.
Set up that base hit by Orlando Cabrera, which made the game just a 3-run game. Now, that seems like a long time ago.
It does.
Yeah, this is what you look for in young players, though, when they struggle. How do they come back? Do they pick themselves back up off the carpet and go right back? Do they go into a shell?
Stubbs got the start last night. Oh for 5, but a run scored. On Asterios. Swing and miss. So Stubbs down on strikes.
Now, when you begin to struggle, you start chasing pitches that aren't not your pitches. And that's the way for Drew Stubbs right there, chasing that pitch, a high fastball, a good one from Monasterios, but up and out of the strike zone. Tough to get on top of those up that are up that high.
4th strikeout racked up by Dodger pitching tonight. Orlando Cabrera. A single that drove in a couple of runs. Also a walk for Cabrera, a fly out in the ground out. Count 1-1. Puts this in play to center. Kemp has it. And the Reds down to their last out of the night. Joey Votto homered in the first inning, which was part of a 3-run first that gave Dusty Baker's Reds a 3-1 lead. And then the Dodgers with 2 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fifth, 4 in the sixth, 3 in the seventh, 1 in the eighth, 1 in the ninth. And we may be looking for silver linings here, but it certainly appears as though Joey Votto, who also has a single to his credit, is back swinging the bat the way he's capable of.
Well, he really had an excellent at-bat that happened right before that home run. That was back in the first inning. They drove in Orlando Cabrera with that long shot to right field, but he fouled off many pitches off the starter Kuroda there, and kind of set the stage for him to begin to swing the bat. But we're going to show you that in our post-game show about how Joey Votto's improved. We'll break him down for you.
Kuroda pitched in this game? It seems so long ago.
Back when he was a young man.
Back when the Dodgers were still in Brooklyn. Count 3-1 to Votto. Ball 4. Of course, in the never-ending pursuit of trivia to entertain all of you, some stuff we never did get to tonight, but, you know, we talk about the Dodgers being in Brooklyn and moving to Los Angeles. I'm certain you were aware of it, Chris, but did you know that when the Dodgers, after their relocation to Los Angeles, and then when Dodger Stadium was finally built in 1964, their first game was against the Reds?
I did not know that.
Yes. Brandon Phillips. Their first game was against the Cincinnati Redlegs on April 10th, 1962. Eddie Casco with a double to lead off the game for the Reds. Bob Perky got the win for the Reds in that game. They had a Bob Perky glove as a kid. And that stadium has certainly stood the test of time out there in Chavez Ravine. Dodgers played earlier in the LA Coliseum, back where they had a big old net in right field. Phillips for call on the ground. Got it. Gets the flip for the force out, and the game comes to an end. as the Los Angeles Dodgers, with getting 18 hits, score 14 runs to beat the Reds 14-6. All after the Reds had seemingly gotten things rolling at the bottom of the first in good fashion by scoring 3, but L.A. just pecked away at it all night long.
Well, both managers thought that this game was going to be all about starting pitching. As it turned out, neither starting pitcher got past the 5th inning. Kuroda did go 5 2/3, but he couldn't make it out of the 6th. And the Red starter, Aaron Harang, went only 5 innings. So we'll have a lot to talk about in our post-game show to tell you about Aaron Harang, show you a little bit about Joey Votto. But tonight, the Reds just couldn't get it done. Too much offense for the Los Angeles Dodgers as they pound out 18 hits and 14 runs here at Great American Ballpark. But they've got one more game tomorrow to try to take the rubber game of this 3-game set.
14-6 the final. The Dodgers with a victory over the Reds here at Great American. Down on the field where Jim Day will give us a preview of tonight's Reds Live postgame show.
Guys, thank you very much. Not the night the Reds were looking for, but 'tis our job to put a capper on it. It was all Dodgers on this night. We'll show you how it unfolded.